Tampines look set on clinching the season curtain raiser for a record fifth time.
What a fantastic goal! Nemelovich heads in!
It will be a walk in the park as first-time participants Hougang can show up their squad with Zach Anderson and Shawalwa.
And what a debut goal by Farhan Zulkifli!
It's the Cheetahs taking on the Stag in the 2020 AIA Community Shield.
A very good afternoon from the Jalan Besar Stadium for the AIA Community Shield. A big encounter coming up between Tampines Rovers and Hougang United to kickstart the professional football season here in Singapore. And I'm joined today by former Hougang United head coach Philip Ah with me. And Philip, I usually like to play things up. To me, this season seems to be the most exciting in years to come with the rebrand of Lion City Sailors, with the return of Tanjong Pagar United. Am I right in thinking this might be the best season yet?
Yes, especially that the teams have beefed up with good foreigners as well, and really excited about Lion City Sailors. My former club, Home United, but now they are Lion City Sailors. Yes.
And for Tanjong Pagar United, back after hiatus from 2014, back after 6 seasons back in the SPL, how good is it to see a team that was part of the very start of the S League, as it was known back then, coming back to professional football?
Yeah, I wish the many more clubs can come back in. Go back United as well. But yeah, it's good. It's good that Tanjong Pagar is back in. I still remember those days when they were a powerhouse. Yeah, of course. Maybe this season maybe a bit too early for them, but it's good that they are back. I'm pretty sure they'll build on it, and in years to come they'll be a powerhouse again.
And of course, there is a change to the foreigner rules this season, an extra foreigner for each team. So the quality of the league should be a step up from last year.
Yes, definitely. With an extra foreigner, they'll bring quality. And these two teams today, they've actually signed good foreigners this season.
Our attention now to the match today, Tampines Rovers and Hougang United, the AIA Community Shield. And both teams did excellent last season. Hougang United, of course, bottom of the table previous 2 seasons ago, third runners-up in the SPL last season. Tampines Rovers, runners-up, of course. So, what do we expect from both teams this season?
These two teams are going to challenge for a title for sure. Yes, Hougang, they spend good money on bringing in national players. This year they recruited well, Sahil Suhaimi and Shawar Anwar. And these two are good local strikers. But in foreigners, I think the signing of Zach Anderson will be crucial for them, because I think last year Hougang, they didn't win the title because the defense was lacking a little bit. And Zach Anderson will fill that void for sure.
What do we make of the AIA Community Shield? Is it a trophy up for grabs, or is it just a glorified friendly?
There are charity shields that 3 points are at stake, but today there's no 3 points at stake. But today this game, yes, for me it's just a friendly match, a glorified friendly match. Yes.
Well, this match has taken even more importance in this particular event. Of course, now with COVID-19 among us, the FAS have stepped in along with Tampines Rovers and Hougang United in an initiative to support the frontline supporters working for COVID-19. Barbara Latimer is part of our coverage this season, and she caught up with Yazin Buhari, the FAS General Secretary, on this fun courage for the COVID frontline supporters.
I have with me the General Secretary of FAS, Yazin. Thanks for joining me. So, in light of everything that's been going on, how close is this match to being called off?
It's quite well documented as to why we had that challenge for the match today. We respect DPNM's restrictions that they have. But having said that, I think it is more than just a match that we want to see for today. The platform is significant, and there's a community shield. And it's a very challenging time for Singapore and for healthcare workers as well. And we thought that we cannot let this pass. And we wanted to use football as a vehicle to be able to contribute.
That's right. Now, speaking of, the AIA Community Shield is very, very heavily involved in the coverage fund. So tell us a little bit more about that initiative.
Can you hear me?
Well, football can be used as a force.
Hello.
And
1, 2,
when
3.
this opportunity came up and we were having a community shield, I've got to give credit to the chairman of Tampines who actually mooted the idea of wanting to do more than just play the game. And then, of course, the other team, Hougang, readily accepted it and wanted to contribute. It was 25,000 is the plan, is the aim, and it's significant because it's the 25th year of professional football in Singapore. And we are quite confident of the fact that this particular fund that we're creating, the Kami Chawala, goes towards the healthcare warriors, the frontline warriors, and it is something that we have always wanted to do, and we have always been on the lookout to do some CSR, and what way it can be than having a fund.
That's fantastic and very, very heartwarming to hear as well. But of course, in light of COVID-19, when it comes to all the matches and the entire league, what kind of precautions are we looking at that FAS is taking into consideration?
No, there were concerns if the league would go on, but I think we needed to show resilience. I think that's the Singapore spirit. Of course, we are very mindful of the precautions that we needed to take. The clubs are very well versed on what they needed to do as well. We've got a task force set up just because of this virus that's affecting us, and it's very clear of the process that we undertake. I mean, it includes temperature screenings, declarations as well, and even if there are people who may have a bit of a temperature, we are not going to pull them away, we're not going to turn them away, we're going to sit and wait and see if those people can actually bring down that temperature and still be part of the game. So the match will go on. In light of the issues that we have with DPMM, we may have to make some adjustments to the fixtures. I'm saying may because we're still waiting for some confirmation as well. But the league will go on and the league will end as planned.
That's amazing. Well, we're all excited to get it going. Back to you guys.
Yes, excellent stuff, Barbara. 25,000 is the target, of course, on the 25th anniversary of the Singapore Premier League. All right, we'll take a little bit of a breather, but coming up after break, the all-important team news.
I have with me the head coach from Tampines Rovers, Gavin. How are you doing?
Fine, very good. We're all very excited for the game.
Awesome. So this is going to be another opportunity for you guys to lift a trophy cup here at Jalan Besar Stadium. What's the atmosphere like with the team today?
Yeah, I think we're all excited. We have this fixture penned on quite a long time ago, and it's a trophy to be won. And we're expecting a good crowd, and hopefully we can play some good football.
Awesome. So there have been, of course, a lot of changes within Hougang United. Where do you see the threat coming from today?
No, in general, they've got a very good squad. They recruited well. They've got they brought Shawal and they brought Anderson. So in terms of the depth they have there, they've got very quick runners going forward. So that's something we need to worry about and deal with it in the game.
And I have to ask, did you pick today's team with just half an eye on the midweek AFC Cup?
Yes and no. I think because of the under-23 rule, players have to rest anyway. Senior players have to rest anyway. So that's some changes in the sense. But we've put out our strongest team, or we feel our strongest team, and hopefully we do our best and get something positive out of it.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to see the boys play. All the best.
Well, we heard from Gavin Lee, and a little bit of a change to the lineup for him in this match. Madu Mohana sitting out. It looks to be a backline of Amirul Adli and Sharus Azali. So a little bit of a change for Tampines Rovers going into the AFC Cup, of course, with half an eye on that.
Yeah, they've got an AFC Cup match coming up, and I think that's the reason why Madhu's not in the team. They've gone with Amirul Adli and Sharus Azali. Both have played together for the Young Lions before, so I'm pretty sure they can form a good partnership at the back.
How important will Jordan Webb be today? He was excellent last season for Tampines Rovers, his best season in soccer in Singapore, in local professional football. And for him to carry that on, how important will that be? Obviously, he loves the limelight. And how important is it on this important stage? He spoke to me earlier on, never played in this kind of match before in AIA Community Shield. How big a chance is this for him to show what he's got?
For Jordan, I think every time when there's limelight on him, he will perform. And this is a good stage for him to be playing at. And he came to Singapore when he was pretty young, and he's been here for a long time, and he has really matured, and you can see in his play now, he's more calm in possession and things like this. So yeah, today he can light this stage up today.
And for Hougang United, a very, very big miss for them in Stipe Plazi, but he sits out in this match. I've been told he is being rested with an eye on the AFC Cup in midweek as well. How big a blow is that?
Of course, Stipe is their best attacker, but I think they've got more important things to look at on Tuesday because they play on Tuesday and today is Saturday. If you only 2 days to recover, and I think that's the reason why it's a good choice to rest him today. Yeah, because this game there's no 3 points.
Well, they have a very exciting front three despite the miss of Stipe Plazibat, Shafiq Ghani, Shao Anwar, and Farhan Zulkifli. Pace and technique in that front three. Barbara Latimer caught up with Clement Teo, the head coach of Hougang United earlier, and this is what he had to say.
I have with me the head coach of Hougang United, Clement. So this is going to be an opportunity to lift their first ever trophy cup here. How's the team atmosphere doing today? Is that in your pep talk?
The team is great. You know, they are looking forward for this game, and you know, they are here to enjoy the moment that the opportunity that was given to us. I mean, yeah, they are ready, and the best thing is to enjoy themselves.
Awesome. Now, was there much of an effect when it came to having so little time to prepare for this match in particular?
Yeah, I mean, we were actually supposed to go up to Johor to play JDT2 on Wednesday, and we got the news on Tuesday, and unfortunately, we need to cancel off the trip to Johor, and to be playing in Singapore is great.
I mean, hey, what an opportunity. Now, but do you guys also see this as an opportunity to potentially make a little bit of a statement to fellow title rivals?
I mean, yeah, I mean that is something also we are not planning to do, but since we are playing in the Charity Shield and a curtain raiser, yeah, why not?
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to see how the guys do. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thanks once again, Barbara. Let's have a look now at the man to watch in today's AIA Community Shield, and that is Tampines Rovers number 9, Boris Kopitovic. And he has scored 5 goals in 5 games, Philip. Now, to sign a striker, to come into a new league and to start off that way, how important is it for a striker and for his confidence?
He's a quality player. Let's not forget that. You know, it's been a while since we see this kind of striker. Reminds me a little bit of
link-up play, and that's just an all-round striker that you need in modern football.
Yes, he is. Like I said, you know, he's big and strong, so he's able to hold up play and allow Jordan Webb to come into the game. And yeah, most importantly, he scores goals.
And he'll be up against Zach Anderson and Anders Applin today. It's going to be a big battle there between those two and Boris Kopitovic.
Yes, Zach Anderson, not a small player, you know, he's big as well. So it will be a good battle today. I'm very excited to see how Kopitovic does against Anderson.
Obviously, you have some allegiance to Hougang United. I'm going to put you on the spot before we go to the break. Prediction for the match?
Well, I think Tampines, they have already got 2 competitive games, and that's going to be an advantage to them. Hougang missing Stipe today, and I go for 2-1 to Tampines.
Philip, we have the prediction 2-1 to Tampines Rovers. Remember, if it's level after 90 minutes, we go straight to penalty kicks, and I'm sure we will be in for a fantastic match. Kickoff coming up after the break, and you will hear the familiar voice of Patrick Kinghorn.
Playing at right back. That's all right. That's it. Half time. But we keep the mics here or what?
On the bench for Hougang United, Heng Hao Meng, Abinyo, Hafiz Abu Suja, Feeling Court, Ali Iskandar, Sada Suhaimi, and Daniel Martin. Head coach for Hougang United, Lemon Hill. And now your starting 11 for Tampines Rovers. Number 24, goalkeeper, Shazwan Buhari. Number 5, Abu Adli. Number 7, Captain Yasser Hanafi. Number 8, Yoga Nakamura.
So welcome to Jalan Stadium for the 13th Singapore Community Shield. Stages that what we hope will be an exciting game. These two teams certainly know how to find the back of the net against each other. An incredible 18 goals between them in the 3 times they met last season. But, and it's a big but, Hougang haven't beaten Tampines since August 2016. In fact, Hougang registering just 1 win against the Stags in their last 16 attempts. So who will lift the first piece of silverware of the 2020 Singapore Premier League season? We'll find out very shortly. Kick-off just under 15 minutes away. We are going to have a full pre-match ceremony, including the delights of John Molina singing the national anthem. Looking forward to that, and the teams will be presented to the various dignitaries. As you heard Duncan discussing with Philippe, it's a wonderful initiative that the Singapore Premier League and the FAS have teamed up with the 2 clubs to make a donation to the foundation, helping support those who are at the front line of the corona crisis. And it's marvellous that the Football Association of Singapore and indeed the 2 club chairmen present here today have got fully behind that initiative. I'm told there'll be a cheque presentation during the halftime interval of 25,000 Singapore dollars, 5,000 each from the 2 clubs, 10,000 from the FAS, and another 5,000 of the anticipated gate receipts. Don't let the empty stands on the far side of the pitch fool you. There's a nice atmosphere here. Tampines, one of the best supported clubs, a true community club in Singapore. And of course, Hougang, famed for their hoolies. They know how to make a noise, no matter how many of them is in the stadium. There are the loyal Stags, faithful, ready and willing their team to do well on the 4 trophy fronts. They'll be battling it out on this season. Obviously, domestically, there'll be an action in the Liga and Cup. The AFC Cup is on their list of priorities, as well as the ASEAN Club Championship. And incidentally, again, something that Duncan and Philippe were mentioning there in our pre-show, both these teams with games upcoming in the AFC Cup. It's Ho Chi Minh back here at Jalan Besar for Hougang on Tuesday, while Tampines face a tricky trip to free-scoring Kaya of the Philippines on Wednesday. So with one eye on AFC competition, just a couple of days away for both, they'll take to the field here knowing this is an opportunity to lift their first silverware of the season. Really looking forward to seeing Boris Kopotovic in the flesh for the first time this afternoon. 5 goals in his first 5 Stags appearances suggest that he is going to be a force to be reckoned with. And as we know from previous seasons of the Singapore Premier League, you really need to have a goal scorer to function and give yourself a shot at coming away at the end of the season with the title. Both teams, speaking of that, with big absences to overcome from the squad from last season. Faris Ramli now plies his trade in Malaysia with Trinagu, and Shardan has gone to that home United Revolution at Lion City Sailors, who to all intents and purposes appear at the moment to be trying to pull a Manchester City in the Lion City state with their free spending. It's going to be very interesting indeed to see how the Lion City Sailors get on. Tampines open their league programme next Sunday with a home tie against Balestier, whereas it's the Young Lions, the destination for Hougang when they begin their 2020 season next Sunday. So we're awaiting the arrival of the teams. A reminder, you're watching live coverage of the 2020 Singapore Charity Shield live on the One Play Network across our Facebook and YouTube channels. And it's great as well this season that every single Singapore Premier League match will be broadcast on television, whether you've got Singtel or StarHub, channel 112 on Singtel, 202 on StarHub. And it's befitting in this 25th year of the Singapore Premier League. We've got a whole host of new additions courtesy of the increase in the foreigner allocation to 4, and we've now got the very best in coverage, courtesy of One Play here, and of course the opportunity to watch these games live in the comfort of your armchair at home, be it on a tablet, a smartphone, or the old-fashioned way on your television set via Singtel and StarHub. If you take a visit to the Football Association of Singapore's Singapore Premier League website, another great addition is the link up now for live in-play stats that will be able to help you follow the games more closely. Everything's been put in place to make this season of the Singapore Premier League the best ever. Now all it needs is for the players and coaches to deliver. Just moments away from the pre-match ceremony. Representatives from all 9 Singapore Premier League clubs here. When they say that in the programme, I've got a feeling we might be absent of a Brunei DPMM representative, but that's understandable in the current climate. They were due to play in this Community Shield, but I'm willing to travel to Singapore in the short term. But as you heard from the FAS spokesman with Barbara pre-match, that is something that the Football Association of Singapore are working on, and we do hope it leads to just the most minimal of disruption, because of course Brunei DPMM are the defending champions and will remain the team to beat. But there are plenty out there gunning for their title, including the 2 teams we're about to meet. As we have our pre-match ceremony now, we'll see the flags of all 9 clubs, the national anthem being sung, and the assembled dignitaries will be introduced to the 2 starting 11s for today. We'll run you through that team news in a little while, but the big news that Duncan's already revealed, there's no Stipe Placebat for Hougang. He's rested with the Ho Chi Minh game on Tuesday in mind. Tampines, slightly stronger. They have left Madhu Mahana on the bench, but Boris and Jordan both still play. So here we go then, you're very welcome to the first coverage of this 2020 Singapore Premier League season, as we welcome the 8 flags of the Singapore contingent. The Brunei DPMM flag is there as well. Tampines looking for a record 5th Singapore Community Shield, and interestingly enough, in their 4 previous times they've won it, on 3 of those occasions they've gone on to become champions. So the Stags, well, I hope the omens are good for them if they can emerge triumphant today. There'll be no extra time if it's a draw after the 90 minutes. I'm told we'll go straight to penalties. Other than that, although some people call these Community Shields pre-season friendlies, normal football rules apply, just the 3 substitutes, and at the end of the day there's still silverware at the end of it, as we now get to greet for the first time this season Tampines and Hougang. Tampines led out by their captain Yasir Hanapi, and Khairuddin, the keeper of Hougang, leading out the Cheetahs. Can hear the Tampines faithful up in voice, and I can also, I think, in the distance hear the Hougang Gate 3 band striking up. I think Tampines have their own band as well now, so that should be interesting. You'll notice straight away that Hougang playing in their chain strip of blue, Tampines playing in the black and yellow. So, very shortly, it'll be John Molina to sing the national anthem of Singapore. Majula Singapore, you're watching live coverage of the 2020 AIA Singapore Community Shield. Wonderful rendition from John Molina. Many thanks to he. And that set the scene nicely for a showpiece occasion, the first silverware of the 2020 Singapore football season. Now the dignitaries will be presented to the teams. The President of the Football Association of Singapore, Mr. Lim Kia Tong, Priscilla Gan, who is the Director of Relations at the Community Chest Foundation, who are the big beneficiaries from today's game, as long as Desmond Ong and Bill Ng, the respective chairmen of Tampines and Hougang, respectively. And one of the first things you'll notice is the assembled dignitaries are introduced to Hougang first. There's with a hug for Zachary Anderson, I think that was there. You'll see very shortly that Jordan Webb has got a new haircut for a new season. He's of Canadian, so I can only imagine it's the Canadian influence that's given him something of a red and yellow pineapple, or a red and white pineapple on his head. But you won't miss Jordan Webb, and as Duncan said earlier, to his credit, he had a storming season last campaign. He's got no Megumi on the other flank for Tampines this season to perhaps deflect some of the defensive attention. Those two used to be able to take the heat off each other at certain times in game when they were paired up, but Megumi off to Felder in Malaysia. There's a look at Jordan Webb's haircut. And so now Jordan Webb might find himself the focus of a little bit more attention during the games. So, we are now ready for action. Our referee, Mr. Ahmed Akasa. And the action's coming up now in mere minutes, live on the One Play Sports Network, Singtel Star Hub and the Football Association of Singapore's Facebook page. A lot of hard work's gone into getting this 25th season of professional football in Singapore up and running, and you're very welcome to what we hope will be the best season yet. Just waiting for the teams as we have a look at our officials. As you look at the wide shot of Jalan Besar Stadium, which is about to be refurbished. After this week, the pitch will be torn up and a new one in its place. I was speaking earlier to the Football Association of Singapore about that. It will be an all-new revolutionary service that will hopefully improve the game. So here we go with the lineups then. For Tampines, it's a strong enough starting lineup, even though, as mentioned, Madhu Mahana starts on the bench, but the keys for them, well, Boris Kaponovic does start up front, and along with Jordan Webb, we'll be hoping to give Hougang plenty of headaches at the back. Yasser Henapi captains the side. And look out for Joel Chu, one of the up-and-coming youngsters in Singapore football. Scored an absolute cracker in the Singapore Cup final at the end of last season. And always good to see Singapore youngsters coming to the fore. As for Hougang, well, as mentioned, the big disappointment for us today, in the short term at least, no Stipe Plazamat, who scored 9 goals for them last campaign. But the arrival of the imports, Zach Anderson and Charles Mackle, make Hougang a team to watch. They had problems at the back last season, but the expectation is that the defence will be tightened up by the arrival of Zachary Anderson, who until recently was plying his trade in the top flight of Malaysian football with the AFC Champions League football to his name. There is Clement Teo. What a story it is for him. He came in to replace Philip Orr 2 years ago when Hougang were rock bottom and hadn't won a game for something like 4 months. But he's turned them round, and with the addition of some good new signings, even the loss of Faris Ramley might not stop them from doing the business again this season. It's incredible to think Hougang have never ever won anything. They've never been in a final, never lifted any kind of pot at all. So it's a special moment for Hougang United, and credit to Bilung and Clement Teo for making it happen. And you can see the skipper there, Kairoon, and the keeper in the huddle. They seem to be as one Hougang United. Can they translate that to a big win in their first opportunity ever, really, in terms of a one-match scenario, to win a trophy? As for the Stags, they're no strangers to winning silverware. 5 times SPL champions, 4 Singapore Cups, including last season, and interestingly enough, 4 Community Shields previously. And in 3 of the 4 times they've won the Community Shield, they've gone on to win the league. So no talk of this being a glamorised friendly. It's important for Hougang as they search their first ever silverware, and Tampines will want to get off to a winning start. There is Gavin Lee, the young man who's charged by Chairman Desmond Ong of guiding Tampines one place better than they finished last season. You saw Fahrudin Mustafic next to him in the dugout. He's a key part of the coaching setup here, and it was he, I'm told, that scouted Boris Kapotovic from Montenegro. So Hougang in the blue, playing from right to left in this first half. The Stags in the black and yellow. Well, that's a daring pass from Zairudin. Mimodovic. Now a touch for Shairul. You see Tampines to me look to be playing a back three here, which is interesting. That was a nice bit of movement for Shairul and some space to operate for Shah. There's Joel Chu. Copped a little push in the back there, did Joel Chu from Nikesh Singh Sidhu. But Tampines keeping the ball well. Hougang, though, not giving them any space to relax with. And they still maintain in their own half as our referee blows his whistle for the first time. For that little kick on Mehmedovic. And here he goes again with Shah. But it's tied early. Tampines stroking it about. They have to be a little bit careful when they're doing that they don't give Hougang a break. But now they finally enter enemy territory, and it's that man Jordan Webb, already on the score sheet this season for the Stags in AFC competition. Twice, in fact, a goal in that heartbreaking 5-3 extra time loss against Bali, and then a goal in the 2-1 win against PSM of Indonesia. Now, here's some space for Joel Chu, but the throw-in will go the way of Hougang. So, less than 2 minutes in, you're watching live coverage at the start of the 2020 Singapore football season. It's the AIA Community Shield, live on One Play, Singtel Star Hub, and the Football Association of Singapore's Facebook page. No one can complain. They missed the games now. The coverage is as good this season as it's been at any of the 24 previous seasons here in Singapore. And with the evolution of Home United into the Lion City Sailors, Brunei DPMM looking as strong as they did last season, and of course Albirex, who once more have refreshed their squad but are always a threat to be reckoned with. We're hoping we're in for the most competitive season of Singapore Premier League action so far, and that of course includes the two teams you're watching now, Hougang, who've been transformed over the last 18 months, and the perennial powerhouses Tampines. Now Hougang's turn to be a bit tippy-tappy. Touch for Jordan Vestering. Good to see Jordan Vestering getting a starting berth. A couple of seasons ago he was having to make do with the occasional substitute appearance, but now as he's matured, this under-22 Singapore international will be hoping to stake his claim for a starting berth. Obviously too early, even after this game, to work out how these two teams are going to cope with the loss of their two stars, if you like, but Shardan Suleiman, I was speaking to Tampines chairman Des Ong, he was very upset to lose him to the Lion City Sailors, but you just can't compete with the money that they're throwing at the game at the moment, and good luck to them if they want to do it, as Hougang now down this left-hand side with Vestering. Vestering pulls it back, and they've missed that out, but they're going to get away with it, and it's going to be an opportunity for Charles Mackle, the former Newcastle United youth player, to put a delightful ball over into the far side, into the area it goes, and it's headed clear by Amarul. It's the first time either side's got anything like a ball into the penalty area. Yes, obviously that's the miss for Tampines and Shardan, but Hougang, Faris Ramley, player of the year last season, as there's a mistake. And just like that, Hougang are into the area again. Keeper comes and keeper claims. Shazwan does well, but that's what I mean about trying to be a little bit too cute, passing in and around the edge of the area. And that was a perfect example of why Tampines, who are quite pedestrian at times, and we've given this the build-up that it's not a pre-season friendly, but the early stages are being played like something of a pre-season friendly, and less than 4.5 minutes into the campaign, I'm going to trot out my favourite footballing cliche. This is the kind of game that needs a goal. Here's Charles Mackle dropping deep to receive, gets it to Faiz Salah. And here's Zach Anderson, the man that Hougang have charged with tightening up that notoriously leaky defence last season. And that's is going to go too far for the advancing Owen. Well, I can hear both the bands of Tampines and Hougang. Hougang, their famed Gate 3. I was going to call them an orchestra, but I think band's probably more appropriate. And it's certainly giving the Jalan Besar Stadium a little bit of an atmosphere. I did actually speak to the Football Association of Singapore when I got here. That annoying idiosyncrasy here as we break off for Farhan. Gets it to Makul. Makul, good ball looking for this far stick. There's a man there for Hougang unmarked. They want handball. Well, over on that far side, Hougang wanted handball. They're getting the better of this early. And they're to the edge of the area again, trying the cute turn. Was Anders Applin, and the shot finally comes in and is out for a goal kick. Well, he's still asking about that handball decision. Is Farhan over on that far side. He's in deep conversation with assistant referee. Let's have a look at this. Well, as it came in, I think this is after the handball incident, unfortunately. It was over the bar in the end from Anders Applin, but the handball, only one player repeating for it, but he kept on at the assistant referee afterwards as the flag goes up for offside against Jordan Webb. You're going back to the idiosyncrasy here, the frustration of Jalan Besar. When you look as our cameras are positioned to that empty stand, it's whenever you watch football at Jalan Besar, 9 times out of 10 that stand is deserted, which gives you the impression there's no one here. But I can assure you, and I'm sure you're picking it up watching at home, that there is a sizable and healthy and noisy contingent from both teams in attendance. So don't be fooled into thinking there's nobody here. I can see, in fact, just beneath me, the Tampines squad who aren't involved today, including Daniel Bennett, who's starting a record 22nd top flight campaign in Singapore football. He's probably twice the age of some of those youngsters that he sat down there with from the Tampines Academy. As the throw for Hougang comes from Vestering. Now, Anders Applin light up Gaelic Internationals. It's good to see them sticking together, and for a club that maybe has more chance of winning silverware. First corner of the 2020 AIA Community Shield, and it goes to Hougang to be taken by Anders Applin. It'll be the outswinger with the left foot. Anders Applin plays it low, going for the ambitious little back flick there was Vestering, and that'll be a goal kick. So a very low-key opening 8 minutes of this Community Shield. It's Tampines 0, Hougang 0. We'll bring you a full half-time show with Duncan Elias, who will be your host for this season's Singapore Premier League, and Barbara Latimer. Great to have Babs Latimer on the team as Jordan Webb gets a flick on without realising there's no one behind him, but that's a loose touch that Boris Kaponovic was on. And that is in the end dealt with well by Faiz Salah. And there's an example of just how calm and cool Zachary Anderson can be on the ball. He looks like a proper lump of a defender, doesn't he, Zachary Anderson? The import number in the Singapore Premier League going from 3 to 4 this season, in theory and in practice, should make a lot of teams stronger. Look at the run here of Anders Applin. He's onside and he'll get the ball. Trying to jockey him is Amaral. Anders Applin needs support. Anders Applin gets it from Charles Makul. Charles Makul with a cross that goes across the edge of the 6-yard box, but no blue shirt attacking it. And you have to say, through the opening 9 minutes, it's Hougang just edging proceedings here. Yes, the two Aussie imports. I say Aussie, really, technically it's an Aussie and a Brit for Hougang. Zachary Anderson comes here having got a lot of defensive minutes under his belt in Malaysian top flight football. And Charles Makul's path to Singapore has been a little bit more interesting. Played his football in Denmark, the Faroe Islands and Cambodia, having been on the books as a youth player at Newcastle United in the Premier League, so he's well travelled. In terms of the Tampines newbies, well, we know a lot about Kyoga Nakamura already. Nakamura playing in that midfield role. He was a star for Albrechts last season. And Boris Kapotovic, well, as I mentioned, he was scouted by Fairudin Mustafic in Montenegro in the close season, and he left his team in Montenegro midway through the season when he'd scored 8 goals already in the campaign and was their leading goal scorer. So he comes with a good pedigree. And speaking to the chairman of Tampines, Desmond Dong, as well, when they scouted him and went through the due process, they found out he wasn't what's the politically correct way of determining this? He was a very stable family background, family influence, and he played football for the love of it as much as he did for the money, and was keen on the chance to experience what it's like to live and work in Singapore. So it was a perfect fit for both parties, and obviously they needed a talisman, Tampines, with the departure of Shardan Suleiman, and early indications are that he, along with the arrival of Nakamura, will hopefully ease the pain of that departure of Shardan to Lion City Sailors. Haven't called them home United yet, and bound to do that between now and the end of the first month of the season. This game really is yet to catch fire. Mehmedovic, Irwan, Jordan Webb. Plenty of space for Mehmedovic now in the middle as Hougang drop a little deeper now. Ball over the top looking for Boris. What's his pace like? Well, he's got there first as Boris Kapotovic trying to turn his man inside out. That was good defending. Calmly done by Hougang to survive their first real foray from Tampines, as the high foot is got away with there by Amaral. Yeah, that was an impressive piece of defending by Fire Salah, faced with his first big matchup against Big Boris. Just going through Boris's statistics, 6'2", so I suppose he does qualify as being able to call himself Big Boris. And if he doesn't, I will. Now, safety first from Amaral as it's headed out for a throw, with Farhan putting some pressure on. Waiting for the spark to bring this game to life, as with the throw for Hougang, it's Vestering. Now, Zachary Anderson, very, very early days, but he is looking a good signing already for them, isn't he? And telling as well, I think, that both these teams, Anders absence, had to lead that. He would have been offside, but Jordan Vestering isn't. Vestering down the left, options in the middle, 2 blue shirts waiting, keeper comes and gets there first. Good keeping from Shazwan, because there was the advancing man there in Shawal Anwar, who he knows got pace to burn. Nice touch from Jordan Webb. Plays in Yasser Hanapi. Haven't seen much from Hanapi so far. Famed for wearing those tights every time as he plays. Jordan Webb to Mehmedovic. Mehmedovic, there's some space on this near side for Shah. Shah might fancy teeing one up here. Thought about putting the trigger. Instead, tries to get the ball to Boris, who went down looking for a free kick that's not come. Still Tampines have it with Shah. Ah, lovely touch. Lovely touch from Nakamura. Shah. And for now, the Tampines danger's gone. Boris Kapotovic is taking a long time to get up from that little tangle. Do hope for the Stags' sake he hasn't twisted something. I mentioned that Hougang have rested Stipe Plazovat for this, with the AFC Cup game against Ho Chi Minh in mind on Tuesday. Let's not forget Tampines have got a game coming up as well. They play the Filipino side Kaya in the Philippines on Wednesday. That was an extravagant sliding challenge from Farhan. Just looking down the benches, obviously too early to start thinking about players who can turn this game. But Madhu Mahana on the bench for the Stags, as is Shannon Stephen. They've got Taufik Supano, should they need to get some extra firepower on. Just the one attack-minded player on the bench for Hougang, Sahil Sumaini. They're playing with fire Tampines at the back in these early stages. That's not the best cross, though. Obviously, Shafiq Ghani starting for Hougang. Be fascinated to see what he can do if they get any kind of free kick or dead ball situation in a dangerous piece of real estate. Hasn't happened yet in a very low-key start to the 2020 Singapore Premier League season. Still early days though. A reminder, the season kicks off proper next week, where every single game will be brought to you live, be it via iPlay, the FAS's Facebook page, or Singtel and StarHub. The games involving Brunei DPMM are going to be subject to change through the first couple of weeks as the season, as the football community here and of course Singapore and the whole region and world get to grips with the corona situation. But we've got plenty of good games to look forward to. I'll give you a rundown of the games upcoming, as now we get the first free kick in a dangerous situation for one of the teams to work with. Straight over to take control seemingly is Nakamura. Long way out. This must be fully 35 yards out. Can't have any complaints there really. Charles Mackle looked to be a free kick and was given. Mehmedovic is over this. If it's going to go with the right foot, it'll be Mehmedovic. Nakamura if they want to go with the left. But Mehmedovic, with that line being held high at the edge of the 18-yard box, is presumably going to try and place this on the head of Boris Kapotovic. First set-piece opportunity of the game for either side. It falls to the Stags, 17 minutes in. Mehmedovic drifts it in. Boris is up there, too high for him. And the flag is up for offside, I think, anyway, or maybe an infringement. Either way, a chance for Hougang to clear their lines. I have to say as well, we're high up in the gods here at the Jalan Besar Stadium, and it's blowing a gale up in the commentary position, and with that exposed far side of the pitch, if you keep an eye out, you can probably see the flagpoles waving hard as well. You can see there Jordan Webb was the intended target, and Boris again hitting the deck. Just to run you through those opening round of games next week, no excuse not to get to one. It's Albirex against Geylang at Jurong East. The flags stay down here. Jordan Webb's in, a chance for Singapore to make it one, and he goes down. Nothing doing. Great piece of goalkeeping from Kai Rulin, and Jordan Webb can have no complaints. I think it was a heavy initial touch and not a too dissimilar second touch that let him down there, and that was a gilt-edged opportunity as Tampines out of nothing carved Hougang open. And the way the keeper came out for there, he had to get the ball, Kai Rulin, otherwise that was a nailed-on penalty. Let's have a look at this. Had to claim the ball there, otherwise it was a pen, but it was too heavy a touch from Jordan Webb. So Tampines now beginning to get into the game. To run you through, I think I'll be trying and do this, the game that gets more exciting, so I'll try and do it as much as I can. Albirex against Geylang kicks off the season. That is next Saturday, 5:30 kickoff. All the Saturday and Sunday games kick off at 5:30 p.m. this season, except for the ones in Brunei. Albirex Geylang, that's at Jurong East, and Home United and Brunei. That game, of course, postponed, be rearranged. And on Sunday, Tampines against Balestier at our Tampines hub, and the Young Lions take on Hougang. Free kick for the cheeky little pull on Jordan Webb from Farhan. Referee just having a chat there as well. I think he's just giving him his last warning. I think pulling him back for an incident maybe with Mehmedovic earlier on. Here is Mehmedovic to Jordan Webb, who's dropped deep here. Jordan Webb looks for Boris with the extravagant ball, and Vestering had to be spot on there and was. Still Tampines come forward. You can see they're playing Boris Kapotovic plenty of attention, the Hougang defence, but Tampines are playing themselves into this game. Look how deep Jordan Webb's dropped. Almost back playing in a back three at the minute. That can't last. Shah again. And that's a foul on Nakamura, who's gone down clutching his left ankle. Guilty party is Anders Aplin. I think both parties acknowledging it's just a mistake, but the referee nonetheless. Ahmed Al-Kassar just having a chat with Anders Aplin. Let's have a look at this. Oh, just stood on his foot accidentally there. One of those things. No serious harm done, thankfully. So Jordan Webb, to try and effect change, has dropped incredibly deep now. Almost playing as a holding midfielder. They found some space. And the effort for Boris Kapotovic, who switched to that left-hand side with Jordan Webb's moving temporarily to the middle of the park. Goes wide. Nice thinking though. And you can see Tampines under Gavin Lee prepared to mix it up. Jordan Webb dropping deep, had a look up. And interesting ball through as well from Amonovic to try and find Boris, but his shot goes wide. Don't forget you can check out the stats, live stats for these games as they progress, courtesy of the Football Associations of Singapore's tie-up with Genius. We'll help you analyse the games, and of course us analyse the games that little bit better this season. Well, that's across the face of goal by Boris Kapotovic. The trouble is when he's playing that kind of ball across the face of goal, and he's another version of himself on the edge of the box trying to get on the end of it. So just the one shot on goal from either side here. Both of them have been on the wide side of the target. Tampines just enjoying the better of the possession so far. And they certainly come into the game more in the last 10 minutes, having seen Hougang dominate early. Jordan Webb. What's he got in his box of tricks now, the Canadian? They tried to get it back to him in the area, it goes, and they'll concede the corner. Well, Jordan Webb at the moment now is making himself at the centre of Tampines' good work in the last 10 minutes as we approach the halfway mark in the first stanza. Still Tampines 0, Hougang United 0. You're watching live coverage of the first match in the 2020 Singapore professional football season. It's the Community Shield, brought to you by AIA, live on One Place, Singtel Star Hub and the FAS Facebook page. Corner for Tampines. There's a bit of shenanigans going on in the penalty area. So the referee telling them to cut it out. I think the guilty parties are Shah and Mahayman there. Delivery is a good one on the corner. The keeper comes, punches it clear. Kairulan only to the edge of the box. And the follow-up effort's over the bar from Joel Chu, who we know can strike them from range. Taking it short to Zach Anderson. Fires Salah, back to Anderson, dropping deep as Charles Mackle, and he'll get the ball. Anderson. Oh, that's well blocked. Good work from Yasser Henapi there, putting the Hougang defence under the pressure when they try and play it out from the back. They'll get a free kick here, Hougang, and they'll try and take it quickly. Westering with some space, but Charles Mackle goes for the safer option in the short term of Fire Salah. Fire Salah now. That's far too easy for Shazwan to gather. Yes, going back to those upcoming Singapore Premier League fixtures. And if you haven't been to a Singapore Premier League game in a while, this season might be the time to give it a go again. We've talked through the first week's games last week. Next week, I should say, next weekend. The week after that, it'll be Tangchung Pagar, their first game back after a 6-year absence. They'll be playing Home United. The flag stays down for Boris here. Boris Kapotovic on goal for 6 in 6! Great save from Kairulan. This game finally coming to life in the 25th minute. Boris, I think, thought he'd scored there. Fine keeping from Kairulan. Boris Kapotovic, and you're already seeing why he's made such an instant impact for Tampines Rovers. Found space out on that right-hand side. There was nothing too wrong with the finish. Keeper got down well there, Kairulan. That goes down as a top class save. It was definitely onside. One touch was a good touch. The second touch, just maybe a little bit too close to the keeper. They've taken the corner quickly, Tampines. Headed across the middle, Hougang just showing signs of that defensive frailty that sometimes blighted them last season, but Zachary Anderson gets ahead to that one to take it clear. Tampines now beginning to establish themselves. Look at the run here of Jordan Webb. Jordan Webb's through on goal now. Jordan Webb, narrow angle. Another great save, Khairul. Great running from Jordan Webb. Real nice work from the 31-year-old Canadian there. And at the other end, all of a sudden, this game comes to life in Hougang, trying their own version of Route 1 that comes to nothing. Well, every time I try and look forward to these upcoming Singapore Premier League fixtures, the game starts to come to life, doesn't it? Yes, Jurong West Stadium, the home for Tanjung Pagar this season. They'll be up against Home United in their first game. That's 2 weeks on Sunday. And Tampines, their game also scheduled for that day. Possibly postponed. It's due to be against Brunei DPMM in Brunei, but we're expecting the Brunei home games possibly to be delayed somewhat as well. They got a touch for that, and it's gone out for a corner. You can catch up with all the upcoming Singapore Premier League fixtures at the Football Association of Singapore's website and Facebook page. Corner for the Stags, who are now beginning to exert some pressure. Can they get the goal that the last 10 minutes has warranted, as we got a man down in the 6-yard box for Hougang. Referee encouraging Muhaiman to receive his treatment off the pitch, so it could be that Hougang have to defend this corner with just 10. Indeed they do. So, third corner of the game for Tampines Rovers. Can they make this one count? They've gone close through Boris and Jordan Webb so far, and that's gone all the way through! And it dropped right at the foot of Jordan Webb, and he couldn't finish. Well, he was as surprised as anyone. I think the ball got all the way through to him, but he's got to do better from there. A yard out. All he's got to do is point the ball in the right direction, and Tampines lead. Look at that. Well, a very, very early contender for miss of the season, and the season's only 27.5 minutes old. Nice work from Joel Chu. He's impressed early on, the youngster. Jordan Webb with more space over on that left-hand side. Jordan Webb gets support. Jordan Webb trying to get the end of it. That was a full-blooded challenge by Zachary Addison, and he thought twice about going in again, lest he be late and give away a free kick in a dangerous area. But Tampines, no question now, are starting to take a stranglehold on this game. It's sharp. Laid off by Boris. Boris Kaponovic, nice turn, gets it back, gets it to Mehmedovic. Mehmedovic just trying to be cute and thread it through to Boris. They've got a man out on the left-hand side. If they can find him they can. So Boris can't get the touch. Well, that was delightful build-up play from Tampines Rovers. They're starting to go through the gears now. And on another day, Boris Kaponovic might have had a hat-trick. All the credit in the world to the man coming up from the back, Irwin, to try and affect that attack and give them the overlap, which he did brilliantly. Mehmedovic involved, spreading it out wide. Little clip over from Yasir Hanapi, and Boris Kaponovic just unable to get on the end of Irwin's square ball. But the Stags starting to push hard now as we approach the half-hour mark of the 2020 AIA Singapore Community Shield. Live from Jalan Besar on One Play, Singtel, StarHub, and across the Football Association of Singapore social media channels. We've seen a very quiet start to the game, but business is starting to pick up as Hougang bid to win their first ever piece of silverware in their first ever appearance in a final of any description. Tampines going for a record-extending 5th Singapore Community Shield. If you are just joining us, Tampines in the black and yellow playing from left to right in this first half. Hougang in the blue and white playing from right to left. Hougang enjoyed the better of the opening 10 minutes, but it's been all Tampines in the second 20. As Yasser Henapi starting to pull the strings in midfield. Well, that's a weak pass that's dealt well with. Jordan Webb, he's starting to terrorise Hougang now. Down this left-hand side, Jordan Webb. He's going to need support in a minute. Will settle for winning the throw. Plenty of space here for Mehmedovic. All the way back to Amarul. Mehmedovic. Flag stays up this time. The flag's up, it won't count. Flag's up, it won't count. The flag's up, the referee hadn't seen it. The flag had been up for a good 15 seconds there. Just as well, but the referee took a little while to look over to his assistant referee, our two assistants today, Ronnie Coe and Ong Chai Lee. But you see the replay here, I think the assistant referee's made a spot-on call. Not sure if we'll get it from this angle. Let's have a look. Yeah, you can't, but you can just about tell from that angle it was offside. May well have gone down as an own goal had the assistant referee's flag not been up. Mehmedovic. But Tampines are really knocking on the door now. Can they make the breakthrough before half-time? It's a good ball over the top. Looking for Yasser Henapi. Charles Mackle is going to have to get a bit more of an influence in this game. He's, after a solid-looking start, gone quite quiet as Tampines start to boss the middle of the park now. That's a bit of relief for them as the Cheetahs win a free kick just outside the Tampines Rovers half. Well, clearly it was obvious they were going to be slightly less of a threat going forward. Hougang with no Stipe Plazavat today, but haven't seen much of Shafiq Ghani. Shawal Anwar's been quite quiet as well up the other end. Jordan Webb and Boris Kaponovic have been heavily involved. That was really good anticipation. By the Stags man there, Nakamura. Mehmedovic starting to look very composed, Tampines now, but they need the goal breakthrough. Boris Kaponovic is through on goal again. It's a very narrow angle and he's got two men marshalling him. He's going to have to get used to that this season in Singapore, I fancy. And ultimately it's a tidy piece of defensive work from Jordan Vestering. And the offside flag, was it, or was it an infringement? Goes against Tampines. Well, they've created half a dozen, I won't call them chances, but certainly openings in the last 15 minutes, the Stags. Yet to take one, though. And bearing in mind, these two teams shared 18 goals between themselves the three times they met last season. A 5-1 win for Tampines on the first game of the season, a 3-3 draw midway through the campaign, and at the end, a 4-2 win for Tampines. Somewhat surprising, we've yet to see a breakthrough here. 33 and a half in. Now, a rare foray for Hougang. Nice touch from Shawal Anwar, and there'll be a free kick in the first card of the season. Oh, and he doesn't like that decision, Nakamura. But he's got to like it and lump it, a yellow card. First one of the season going to Kyoga Nakamura. So, the set-piece specialist for Hougang, Shafiq Ghani's over it. Too far out even for him to pull the trigger. But there are 5 blue shirts up there for this. No surprise that Zach Anderson's up from the back as well. He is going to be a threat with his head from set-pieces this season. The delivery is decent, and the keeper comes and gets in a tangle with Amarul. Shazwan and Amarul, the two Stags colliding with each other. And we'll need the physio on here to try and get the game restarted. It did look like a nasty challenge. It was brave keeping because you could see Amaral there. And as ever, it wasn't the worst delivery in the world from Shafiq Ghani. He's usually reliable from free kicks, but possibly if he could have it back, just a little less purchase on the ball. So, unofficial water break, if you like this, with 10 minutes to go to half-time. It's still Tampines Rovers 0, Hougang United 0. We have the ball in the back of the net, but the linesman's flag went up a good 15 seconds. Well, that's an exaggeration. A good 5 or 6 seconds before the ball hit the back of the net. Originally given a goal by the referee, but he'd failed to see the assistant's flag up. So we're still at nil each. But other than the early effort over the bar that Hougang had from Shafiq Ghani, all the attacking play has come from Tampines, with Jordan Webb looking lively, Boris Kapotovic already showing just why he scored 5 in 5 for the Stags since his arrival from Montenegro, and Yasser Henapi getting busy as well. But understandable, I suppose, to a certain extent, with those AFC games on the horizon. Ho Chi Minh for Hougang on Tuesday, and Kaya of the Philippines, a trip for the Stags to undertake for their game on Wednesday. That may be the intensity not at 100% yet. That being said, footballers being footballers, if a team wants to take the lead in this and the prospect of losing a game that ultimately does bring with it some silverware at the end of the day, the tempo I fancy might pick up. But at the moment we're 8 minutes away, plus the couple that will be added on for stoppages from a scoreless half of football. Nakamura, the only player to go into the referee's notebook so far. Jordan Webb. What I like about Jordan Webb in this game, he's been doing plenty of movement. Not exactly termed a lazy player in years gone by, but sometimes you like to see him involved in games a little bit more, and he's certainly been busy. The effect of losing Magumi to Felder this season for Tampines has effectively deprived them of a player that was attracting a lot of defensive attention. So you'd think Jordan Webb would be marshalled a little bit closer, but now Boris Kapotovic is there. He might take some of the heat away. Boris has dropped deep on this occasion. There's a little pull-out at Yasser Henapi there. Initially, I think, looked to the referee for a flag. Farhan. Tampines doing a good pressing job here. They're not giving Hougang any time and space on the ball. And crucially for me, I think Tampines playing within themselves at the moment. Hougang just struggling to find any kind of rhythm to their play. Oh, that's an almighty whack forward from Amaral. Looking for Boris. Might drop to Jordan Webb. Clever header to Yasser Henapi. Henapi looks for Boris Kapotovic. Boris into the area again, takes a touch, and Boris across the face of goal. That one wasn't too close. But the fact he could create a clear opening in that scenario shows you the quality he's got. He'd like the finish back, but he had two blue shirts around him and cleverly used one touch to open up the space to create the opportunity. But another one ultimately goes begging for Tampines Rovers. Really clever from Henapi after good work from Webb. Look at that, one touch takes the impressive Zachary Anderson out of the equation, but just couldn't find the target. Kai William, remember, has made two important saves here from Jordan Webb, who was herring through on goal. If he hadn't got that spot on, it would have been a cast iron penalty, and he's pushed one away from Boris Kapotovic as well. So it's Tampines having the better of it, but they've not made it count. Can Hougang get something going in the Tampines final third before the half-time whistle? Well, they'll have an opportunity here. A similar set piece of real estate to the last opportunity they had that led to Shazwan and Amaral colliding with each other. And Shafiq Ghani again will be over it. So Shafiq Ghani, they're all going to have to keep an eye, Hougaang's opponents, on the giant figure of Zachary Anderson coming forward from set pieces. There's no mystery to what they'll try and do here. Drop it in and around the penalty area and see if Zachary Anderson can get on the end of it. Ball comes in again, Zachary Anderson is there. but it's a black shirt that manages to get the first touch, and it's cleared away. Now the referee not too impressed by some of the back chat from Farhan. Cutting that out. Had a good game so far, the referee. Maybe a little bit too long to pick up the assistant referee's flag that went up for the goal that he gave that wasn't, but he's marshalled it well. I think by and large, it's had its ups and downs, Singapore refereeing, as many leagues do around the world, but I think it's certainly on the improve over the last couple of campaigns. And for goodness sake, let's not get VAR involved in Singapore football. Could almost wear it as a badge of honour now that the Singapore Premier League, one of the few leagues left in the world that doesn't have VAR. You might disagree with that assertion, and of course you're fully entitled to do so on the One Play and Football Association of Singapore Facebook pages. There's a comments box for you to have your say on what you're seeing on the pitch so far. Might get there first, Yasser Hanapi, and does. And the referee, having waited to see if there was an advantage, gives the free kick to Tampines. Too exuberant with that sliding challenge, according to the referee, was Muhaimin. Playing it short, Nakamura, Jordan Webb. Jordan Webb trying to do the old razzle-dazzle, manages to get the ball into the area. Hougang, though, clear. There's no blue shirts hassling this, though. Or finally they do get one in there, though. And it's going to be a yellow card. Now, the replay will be interesting here, because if that was intentional, it's a borderline red. He's looking a bit sheepish getting up, but the replay will be very interesting here, because if the referee feels like he's got to show a yellow card to Shawal Anwar for that, it's the kind of challenge that might warrant a red. Let's have a look. I think I'm going to give Shawal Anwar the benefit of the doubt. I think it was just an accidental coming together. Let's have a look. Replay will tell us more. Well, Tampines only had themselves to blame. There was no real pressure. That's just accidental. He's very unfortunate to go in the book there, Shawal Anwar. Once the referee went straight to his pocket, I thought it was the kind of challenge that if it was deemed foul, it would be serious foul play. But I think he was entitled just to chase down the Tampines player who's about to get possession. Let's hope no serious injury comes of it. There's no animosity being shown by Irwan off the back of it. He's dusting himself off and walking away. Remember, we've got a half-time show with you coming up with Duncan Elias, Philip Orr and Barbara Latimer out and about in the field, giving you the lowdown on what's been happening in our first 45 minutes. The answer, unfortunately, is not too much. Tampines with the better of it, a couple of good chances. Boris Kaponovic is clearly going to be a contender for the Golden Boot this season, and what we've seen so far. Wonder if he can top the 21 goals of Brunei DPMM's Andre Varankau from last season. Here is Boris. Fires Mehmedovic in space. Might pull the trigger, Mehmedovic. Instead plays it to Joel Chu. Joel Chu. Yasser Hanapi. Tampines keeping the ball well for now. Forced back by Hougang. Oh, Nakamura took a chance there. Got away with it just. Mehmedovic. Joel Chu through to Boris, who's through on goal again. Boris Kaponovic on target. And tapped to behind for a corner by Khairulin. But this is a good examination of Zachary Anderson's Singapore Premier League credentials very early on, because it's turning into a big face-off between him and another new arrival in the league, Boris Kaponovic. And so far, even though Boris has got goal side of him a couple of times, I suppose you have to say it's an honourable draw at the moment, with the scores still at 0-0. Tampines with another corner, though. They're starting to mount up. Fourth of the game, they try something different to the edge of the area. Joel Chu didn't strike that with any conviction. He struck that with a bit more conviction, but it's over the bar. And it remains 0-0. Well, Tampines bossing possession. Bossing almost every statistic, really. They're the only team that have had shots on target. We've just seen the one effort high over the bar from Shafiq Ghani for Hougang. Tampines now with 9 attempts on goal combined, 4 of them on target and 4 corners, but nothing doing. That was a push. Knew exactly what he was doing there, the Stags man, to buy that free kick. Cynical football or clever football, depending on which side of the fence you sit from Shah. Boris Kaponovic, who his foot went up there. Possibly lucky to get the free kick there, Boris Kaponovic. I thought the foot went up from both of them. We're into the 1 minute that will be added on for stoppages. Jordan Webb, is there a sting in the tail for Hougang right on half-time? Amenovic. Joel Chu. Joel Chu trying to cutely get it through again. Yasser Hanapi to the edge of the area. They don't want to be conceding a free kick in this piece of real estate, Hougang. It comes to Shah. Yasser Hanapi, Joel Chu with a chance to deliver. Joel Chu with a cross, nobody there for Tampines Rovers, but Nakamura gets it back to Jordan Webb. Have they got time left in this half to launch one more foray? Hanapi, Jordan Webb, getting a little bit congested there now. Shah. Jordan Webb switching to the right flank. Gets the magic trick box out again, and it does the business. Joel Chu, Momenovic to Boris. He's got a man on the far side if he can see him. Irwin's made a good run, but there's still not many numbers in the box for Tampines, and it matters not. He can't get there, and that'll bring the curtain down a first 45 minutes, which started very slowly and is just showing signs now of beginning to find life. Hougang's only effort early on inside the first 10, a shot over the bar from Shafiq Ghani. Tampines have gone close on half a dozen occasions. A couple of great saves from Kai Rudin, who almost gave away a penalty, but came in perfectly with a challenge on Jordan Webb. But Boris Kaponovic will be disappointed at the break that he's not on the score sheet. Just the 1 yellow card going to Tampines Hubs Nakamura. But at the break here at Jalan Besar in the 2020 AIA Singapore Community Shield, it's the Stags 0, the Cheetahs 0. Halftime show on the way with Duncan Elias.
Testing. 0-0 at halftime in the AIA Community Shield between Tampines Rovers and Hougang United. There have been chances in the match, Philip, but it's not been the most exciting match in the world.
Yeah, Hougang started better. You know, the first 10 minutes they had a shot off target, but after that, once Tampines set in, it was Tampines who had the better chances. You know, Jordan Webb running through. Kopitovic had a few chances as well. Yeah. The rest of the 30 minutes of the first half, it was Tampines. Yes.
It was a slow start to the game. Was nerves perhaps a factor going into the first 5-10 minutes when it was a very tactical battle?
Yeah, I think you know, when you go into games, you want to see out your opponent, see what they come with. So the first 10 minutes, probably Tampines was just looking at how Hougang is setting up. Yeah, but once they get going, yeah, it's difficult to stop Tampines.
Let's talk about the midfield battle. Kyoga Nakamura up against Charlie Mitchell and Nikesh Singh. Who's got the better of that so far?
You know, Hougang plays 3-4-3. When they defend with a 5 and a 2 in midfield. Mitchell and Nikesh Singh, they are being outnumbered now because Jordan Webb tucks inside. So Kyoga, Zarudin and Jordan Webb, yeah.
So looking at the chances, it all began in the 6th minute, and that's the shot that you mentioned coming off Shafiq Ghani after good build-up play by Hougang United. And they're looking at the flanks here, Vestring down the left. And has that been the best way forward for Hougang so far?
Yes, especially in the start of the game. Yeah, that's the way Hougang attack, long balls behind the defense.
And this is the period where Tampines just got a foothold in the match. Jordan Webb just letting it run across his body, couldn't get it past Khairul. And Jordan Webb has come in off that left flank and has come into great effect. Here Kopitovic just putting the ball wide, but Jordan Webb has been a menace coming off that left flank.
Yes, especially if he comes inside. And like I said, Meko and Nikesh Singh will have trouble because they're going to be outnumbered.
This is the big chance. Kopitovic one-on-one, good save, good strong right arm by Khairul.
Yes, Khairul in there doing wonderful. You know, that was a great chance for Kopitovic.
Is it just too easy for Kopitovic to just go behind the
especially when you have the back five? Tampines still coming behind many times. So I think at half time, Tampines will need to sort this out. Yep, Tampines now in total domination. You know, yep. Here you see Jordan Webb coming through. Yeah, yes, it was free.
Again, Khairul Hain playing a very important role so far in the match. Hougang United with chances here and there, but they've been hanging on pretty much. This delivery coming in by Shafiq Ghani. And the collision between Amirul Adli and Shazwan, a sickening one. Thankfully, both players are okay. What do you expect to happen in the second half? I mean, Taufik Suparno is on the bench for Tampines, Daniel Martins, Sahil Suhaimi for Hougang United. You expect the coaches to push them on at some point in the second half?
For sure, we'll see Sahil coming on. But I think at halftime, Hougang will need to sort out the central midfield area. Maybe a formation change, you know, to a back four. Yeah. At halftime, you can take out the under-23 players. If you've got Hafiz Sujat on the bench as well. So Hougang has got a strong bench. They can utilize them.
Well, me and Philip Au have been keeping a close eye on this match, but so has Barbara Latimer, who is with a member of the press for his thoughts on the game so far.
All right, so I have with me Deepan from the New Paper. What do you think of the match so far?
I think it's been a good watch. It's been a tactical battle. I think Hougang United and Tampines Rovers have tried their best to get behind each other's defense. But I think, you know, if Tampines had put away their chances, they could be 2-0 or even 3-0 up. So I think in the second half, they got to make use of the opportunities to get the goal hit.
Interesting. So both teams have new players, right? They're all on the field. How do you think these new players are faring so far?
I think for Tampines, Kyoga and Mehmedovic in the middle, they're doing very well. I think they're getting lots of spaces to play the balls in behind the defense. For Hougang, I think Zach Anderson has been good so far. I think he's kept Boris quiet, but I think he's got to be careful of, you know, the balls in behind, which is getting past Hougang. So I think, like I said, if Tampines had taken their chances, they could be 2-0 or 3-0 up. But I think for the foreigners in the match so far, I think they're doing a good job. For Hougang, I think Charlie could be doing better because I think the midfield battle is being won by Tampines at the moment. So Hougang could do better in midfield.
Awesome. So you've done your previews on all the teams. How do you think this season is going to shape up?
I'm personally very excited for the season because I think all the teams have added well. I think they all have very good squads. Even the teams that didn't do so well last season, like you know, Balestier, I think they can do well this season. So for this season, I'm expecting, you know, to be a very competitive match every time that we see the SPL. So I'm expecting it to be much better than last season because last season, you know, you had matches that were not of quality sometimes, but this season I'm expecting something. I'm expecting good matches this year.
Amazing. Well, thank you for joining us. We look forward to watching the second half, and I think we're going to go off for a break.
Welcome back live to Jalan Besar, second half moments away in the 2020 AIA Singapore Community Shield. It's the curtain raiser for the 25th season of Singapore professional football. Singapore Premier League kicking off you live next weekend on One Play across the Football Association of Singapore's social media channels. And great news this season, every single game will be available for you live on Singtel and StarHub. Today we're on Singtel channel 112 and StarHub channel 202. Can't see any sign of any substitutes at the break, and if you are just joining us, well, shame on you for being late, but the good news is you didn't miss too much in the first half. I fancy it might pick up here in the second. Remember, 18 goals between these two teams when they met in the league last season, and there were signs towards the end of the first half that Tampines were really starting to tighten the screw. And as always, we welcome your comments on our Facebook pages. That's the beauty about these social media channels there. It's not like in the old days where you'd watch it on television and scream at the screen. You can now comment and have your say away on the One Play social media channel in those comment boxes below. Lots of you commenting on the game. Lots of you saying about it being empty here at Jalan Besar. I promise you it isn't. It's just the annoying thing, and I have mentioned it before, and I've complained to the Football Association of Singapore that the cameras being this side of the ground mean you always get that empty stand on the other side. We start the second half, and straight away Tampines through that ticket deflection and gathered well by Kai Rulin. Elsewhere, a lot of you talking about the ground sharing situation for this season. Obviously, let me just run through them for you. Tampines and Geylang will both play at our Tampines hub. The Young Lions will play at Jurong West. Hougang will play at Hougang, and Jurong East will be the home of Albrecht and Tanjong Pagar United. Great to have them back. Bishan will play at Balestier along with Lion City Sailors. Hang on a second. Oh, out of nothing. Shafiq Ghani threw on goal for Hougang's best chance of the game, and he spurned it wide. Shaswan not even forced to make a save. Another injury problem here, and particularly in this second half, as any player goes down, poor old Gavin Lee and Clement Tia will have their hearts in their mouths with their AFC Cup games on the horizon. On Tuesday against Ho Chi Minh for the Cheetahs, on Wednesday in the Philippines against Kaya. And I'm told, incidentally, if you're planning on getting down and supporting the Singapore clubs in the AFC Cup, as we get another quick glance at that opportunity, Tuesday's game for the Hougang side against Ho Chi Minh will be played here, and then I'm told, I'd like to get this confirmed, that the AFC home games for these Singapore clubs will be played at Jurong West. And having visited Jurong West on Wednesday to see the friendly between the Young Lions and the returning Tanjung Pagar United, I have to say the pitch does not look the best, but that can work for you as much as against you, particularly when you've got foreign teams visiting, so we shall see. Also, I'm told I'm even having a mention from the great Bahaki, a Singapore legend, 100 caps plus. He's been having his say on the Facebook page. I think I might have got something wrong, Mr. Bahaki. I'm so sorry, sir. I bow to you, the 100 cap legend of Singapore football. We'll do our best. And if you hear something that you like on the broadcast, if you see something you like, see something you don't like, tell us about it. We've got a top production team working for you all season to bring you every single game live. And this is about building not just the television coverage, but a proper community amongst all these Singapore football fans. Keep them serious, though. Someone just said in the comments box that they want Liverpool to join the Singapore Premier League. Although I can tell you, Tampines chairman Desmond Ong is a massive Liverpool fan. But I digress. At this curtain raiser of the Community Shield in Singapore 2020, an early chance for Hougang is spurned. Oof. And there's a late challenge on the keeper. That could possibly be a card as well. Second card of the game. He can have no complaints. I feel a little bit sympathetic for Jordan Vestering there, because you're almost entitled to go for it. But once you go for it and don't get it, it's a yellow card all day long. Yasser Henapi putting them under pressure. And again, once you don't get the ball, you're going to be pinged there. And Jordan Vestering, the exuberance of youth, I think there. Well, Madi Mahana, as you can see, has entered the fray for Amrul Adil, I believe. But that's one experienced player for another. Madi Mahana, who had that spell at Tampines, interrupted by an ill-fated sojourn to Malaysia to play for Negri Sembilan, an ex-Warriors and Young Lions man as well. Of course, he's got that long throw, so that'll add an extra dimension to Tampines' attacks going forward. Not a very happy sight for them to see their keeper down here, Tampines, because that's one of the areas where you could argue they're possibly a little light this season. They won't want to be having any injuries in the goalkeeping ranks, that's for sure, as we get a look at the Halls. There, the Hougang Halls, and Gate 3, the band Gate 3. Credit to them. I mean, I must say, of all the clubs in Singapore, and it'll be fascinating to see if the Lion City Sailors hoo-ha gets plenty of people going down to watch the Sailors at Bishan this season. But of all the clubs in the Singapore Premier League, Hougang are brilliant in terms of how they engage their fan base. I remember going there a couple of seasons ago, just before Clement Teo took over from Philip Orr, who was, of course, Duncan's studio guest today. And even though they were getting stuffed every week, the fans were still there making their noise. Some of the songs ironic, but having a great time. And the job that Desmond Ong and his committee have done, Nick Hunter, I know it's a big part of the work being done by Tampines Rovers, to really engage the community. They're constantly having fan events. They really utilise the brilliance of that, our Tampines hub, home ground. They've got Easy Link season ticket cards. It's all happening at our Tampines hub. Here's Jordan Webb. Not really happening in this game. We need a goal. Let's see if we can get one. Down the left-hand side, it's Irwan. Away it goes. Heavy touch, but no harm done by Shirul. There's a nice ball through and Jordan Webb's on the end of it, narrow angle. The Hougang defence did really well and Jordan Webb slips at the worst possible time. Over the top, but the flag's up. And just as well, because I don't think Shazwan fancied another Hougang player steaming down on him. Yes, and just to clarify that comment from a legend of Singapore football. By Haki it was, of course, Shafiq Ghani in the first half. I got my Shafiqs and my Anders the wrong way round on 2 occasions, so I apologise to Bahaki and everybody else. But again, if those things happen, that's the beauty of it being interactive, these games being streamed live on Facebook. Have a pop. It's an absolute certainty you won't agree with everything I say this season, even if it's an opinion. I'm sure there'll be some factual mistakes as well, but be part of the fun and games, and if you've got something to say, we'll try and get you a mention as much as possible. Any outlandish predictions throughout the course of the game, do let us know, and if we get an opportunity, we'll share them. But 7 minutes into the second half, we're still goalless now. Over the top, as Boris gets goal side again. He really is a strong unit, this Boris Kapotovic, isn't he? Gets that one back. He needs to find his way into the penalty area, Boris. So that's the problem. Those occasions when he's been called out wide, he's usually left them light in the middle. On that occasion, Yasser Hanapi was lurking, but having survived a scare at the start of this second half, Tampines once more trying to establish their authority. Jordan Webb with the unmissable red and white pineapple on his head. Slightly frustrated with his teammates' pass there. Giving him a disgusted look, I think. He's still going on about it, Jordan Webb. He's giving... Is it Mehmedovic? He's giving his teammate the kind of look you get. Well, not pleasant anyway. Doesn't want to let his frustration show there. I wonder if that was Jordan Webb's frustration boiling over. And now he's giving some back chat to the referee and the fourth official as well. Down in absolute agony is Mahaimin. Jordan Webb still won't let this go. I think that's the frustration boiling over. If you have a look here, this was just Jordan Webb. He's getting fed up, I think. Didn't do too much wrong, in fairness. If anything, I think Mahaimin got injured there by kicking Jordan Webb's backside. Anyway, everyone okay to continue. Here's Jordan Vestering, really impressed with him, the youngster, who's starting to get a run in the first team now at Hougang. Into the area, some razzle-dazzle, doesn't come to anything. Vestering gets there first, though. Here's Charles Mackel. He's been quiet after an influential opening quarter of an hour of the match. He spreads it wide this time to Mahaimin. Mahaimin bamboozles one Tampines defender, but the third touch on that little passage of play was far too heavy. And a reminder, if it is a draw after 90 minutes, there'll be no extra time. We go straight to penalties, as we've got a man down over on that far side. Now, let's try and make out who that is. There's an injured player over on the far side for Hougang. It's Farhan, who's down there in a bit of pain. Well, as I mentioned earlier on, we've got Daniel Bennett in the youth setup at Tampines Rovers, taking this game in intently. I saw a lot of the young Lions here earlier, Albrechts, the guards, we have representatives here. So this Community Shield that is obviously trying to promote football in the community in Singapore has been a huge success. And despite those empty stands you see on the far side, I can assure you there are thousands underneath me here in the main stand at Jalan Besar. And more importantly, at half-time we had that cheque presented by Mr. Desmond Dong and Bulung and the president of the Football Association, Lim Kia Tong, for 25,000 Sing dollars, which is Singapore football's donation to battling and supporting those who are dealing with the coronavirus. Jordan Webb's in, the flag stays down into the area. Jordan Webb needs support here unless he can pull out a real big magic trick. Gets it back to Yasser Hanapi. His shot is blocked by Zach Anderson. Now on the drive. Beautiful play through, and the first time shot, and it's a goal for Owan, and Tampines have broken the deadlock. Lovely passage of play, it got an ooh and ah from the stands, And Erwin Shah has scored the first goal of the 2020 Singapore football season. And it's a beauty. 10 minutes into the second half. Stags 1, Cheetahs 0. Well, they like that, don't they, the Tampines fan base, and with good reason. Erwin Shah started it. Yazza Hanapi with a beautiful 1-2, and that's a delightful finish. What a goal to give us our first net buster of the new season. Erwin Shah, creator. Yazza Hanapi, assister. And Erwin Shah, the scorer. Beautiful play. And Tampines lead Hougang by a goal to 0. If the Cheetahs are going to win their first ever piece of silverware, they're going to have to do it the hard way. And they're in again here straight away. Here's Boris Kaponovic. Jordan Webb's over on this far side. Is he going to try and find Jordan Webb? It's cut out by Charles Mackle. And you have to say on the balance of play, Tampines deserve that lead. And a second goal for them now, and it might be curtains for Hougang already. Delightful build-up play there. You've got to give Erwin Shah all the credit in the world. Great movement and anticipation. Yazza Hanapi's put another player in, and Boris Kaponovic goes down. He wants a penalty from the referee, but nothing doing in the eyes of Ahmed Akwasa. After the match, we'll be giving you the trophy presentation and a full post-show with Duncan Elias as Tampines come again. Boris up for this one with a header! Just over the bar! Well, that would have been some goal. Shy rule it was, with a brilliant play down the left-hand side. The cross came in and the big man was there, just over the bar. I wonder whether Kairouda might have got to it if it had been on target. But he didn't have to take a touch as it stood. But Boris Kaponovic, the only thing he's not done today so far is score. He's looked really, really bright. Lots of evidence why he's already got 5 in 5 for the Stags. Here comes Yazza Hanapi. It's opening up for Yazza Hanapi to pull the trigger. Instead he plays it through, or tries to play it through to Jordan Webb. And Tampines now are starting to turn on the style and go through the gears. They're looking really sharp here. But can they get the second goal that almost certainly kill this game off? Here's Mado Mahana. The goal scorer, Erwin Shah. Yazza Hanapi looking sharp, the skipper. Jordan Webb, who to his credit has not been shy in tracking back when it's been required in this game to this point. Mehmedovic. Nakamura. Jordan Webb. Well, Hougang at the moment just can't get a look in. Is Yazza Hanapi. Erwin Shah on the left-hand side. What's his delivery like? It's decent, but met by the strong foot of Zachary Anderson. Only as far as Jordan Webb. This game being played almost exclusively in Hougang's half now. Erwin Shah. Yazza Hanapi. Oh, look at this from Jordan Webb. Beats one man, beats two men. Pull the trigger, Jordan Webb! Just wide, and he wants a free kick. He's not shy in complaining to the referee, and I like that. Our referee, Ahmed Al-Kassar, just puts the hand up. Tell it to the hand, because the face ain't listening, Jordan. That was really good play from Jordan Webb. Beautiful. That's a little bit late from Mehmedovic. Well, bright signs here for Tampines Rovers. A little disappointed from Hougang, but they'll have the pass. I suppose they'll say it was always going to be difficult for them without Stipe Plaza to cause a threat going forward. And let's not forget Shafiq Ghani had a great chance right at the start of the second half that he just pulled wide. So another cliche, not doing too badly. I've only had the one cliche so far. If this game needs a goal, the second one's coming out now, is that this game is certainly not over at just 1-0. Boris, that's going to be a tussle between those two whenever they play this season. Zachary Anderson and Boris Kaponovic, they're going to be locking horns, I fancy. On the subject of Zachary Anderson, we'll talk about him in a minute when he comes back into shot. Do they not have any shorts that fit him? in the club shop. It looks like he's wearing hot pants. And he's got his socks pulled up over his knees. It's all very off-putting. Here's Yasser Hanapi. Nakamura. Jordan Webb. He really does look like he's up for this, Jordan Webb, doesn't he? They're having to put 2 men on him almost all the time. Nakamura, Erwin Shah, the goal scorer. Look at this, Tampines, it's almost olaying now, and it is kind of, you fancy maybe getting in the realms of testimonial football, friendly football at the moment with both goals. Having said that, just as I say that, what about that challenge that comes in from Ahmedovich? That was full-blooded. There was nothing football-friendly about that. As the first change is on the way from Hougang. Introduced is Afiq, and he'll replace Nikesh Singh Sidhu. So Nikesh Singh Sidhu, replaced by, I think, Noor. Both teams have made one of their permitted changes as Charles Mackle tries to play it out from the back. Offside, surely. Yeah, the flag's up there, it won't count. Looked too good to be true for Hougang, and it was. Assistant referees have had good games so far. They've got all the offside decisions correct, and there have been a few of them. Most noticeably, CB that one in the first half where Tampines actually put the ball through the net, and the referee actually gave the goal before the assistant referee's raised flag was spotted. And it wasn't a late flag either. Let's hope our officials have a successful season as well as the players. Nakamura, good pass. He's found Erwin Shah in acres of space here. Erwin can bring this forward. Yasser Hanapi urging him to come forward. He finds Jordan Webb. Jordan Webb now, seeing if he can float one to Boris. Instead he finds Nakamura in the middle. Tampines now, looks like they're playing with 10 against 11. A lovely ball through again, Erwin Shah. Flag is stayed down, Boris on the far side! 6 and 6 for Big Boris, and the Stags lead by 2. Well, how about that from Erwin Shah again? Lovely ball through from Nakamura. Erwin Shah saw Boris, looked up once, and you do not give a chance to Boris Kaponovic inside the 6-yard box like that. Into the roof of the net it goes. Boris, 6 goals in 6 games since joining Tampines, and surely now the Stags have got one hand on their 5th AIA Singapore Community Shield. Lovely ball from Erwin Shah. Well, Boris will get the headlines for the goal, but that's 1 goal and 1 assist now for Erwin Shah, and you could argue the goal he scored, he half assisted himself with as well. So it's some afternoon it's turning into for Erwin Shah. The 31-year-old Singaporean international. A former Warrior man's having a great game here, and now you get the feeling it's just a question of how many Tampines want to get. Hougang have looked a little bereft here, and they've not got too many options on the bench either. Sahil Suhaimi, you'd imagine he'll have to be seen in a minute. Where's the goal coming from for Hougang, let alone 2? Well, that was slight uncertainty in the defence that ultimately they clean up quite well. And that's a little foul given away by Boris Kaponovic. Well, Boris has been on goal-scoring fire, hasn't he? Two in that game against Bali that, heartbreakingly for Tampines, ended 3-3 after normal time and ended up falling to the Indonesians in extra time, just as the Tampines fans were thinking of a trip to Melbourne. And then he's on the score sheet again in that clash against PSM. He's been scoring in the friendlies they've been playing as well. Game against JDT2 was on the agenda. The flag's down here though. Can Hougang get back into it with Shawal Anwar? Oh, what a tackle that is, by the way. What a world-class challenge that was. Again, had to be absolutely spot on. Did Shah with that challenge. any kind of bad timing on that. I think it was just outside the area. But if you get that wrong and take the man down, you're giving a free kick away in a dangerous position, and it's an almost certain yellow card. As it is, Shafiq Ghani will take the corner for Hougang, and these Hougang corners have been few and far between. Delivery is good, but straight ultimately the keeper. No one was attacking the near side of Shazwan's goal. Shazwan looking for Jordan Webb, who's got pace to burn, and he's got the beating of the man that's with him. He's no match for the Canadian, Yasser Hanapi. It's all Tampines Rovers now. That'll be a free kick, just for the little clip on Mehmedovic. Another change, and it's coming for the Stags. Shannon Stephen is about to be introduced, and he'll replace the youngster Joel Chu. Well, been impressed with Joel Chu, just 20 years of age. Came to prominence with that goal in the Singapore Cup final last season, and he's been more than an influence through an hour of first team football in this year's AIA Singapore Community Shield. Well, we called this substitution, and it's coming. And Mohyman, who looks absolutely out of gas, he was the player just skimmed by Jordan Webb. He's replaced by Sahil. So that's definitely an attack-minded change for Hougang. Meanwhile, speaking of attacking, it's Tampines doing all of that at the minute. Jordan Webb, Yasser Hanapi, Jordan Webb again. 22.5 minutes to play here at Jalan Besar Stadium. It's Tampines Rovers 2, Hougang 0. Remember, 3 of the 4 previous times that Tampines have won this Community Shield, they've got on to win the league. They'll have their work cut out this season with the defending champions Brunei DPMM even. The Money Bags Lions City Sailors. A lot of people tipping the Seamen to do the business this season. And of course you can never quite write off Albrechts. And going into this game, there were many that thought Hougang, with the arrival of those 2 import players in Charles Mackellan, Zachary Anderson, and Stipe Plazamat banging the goals, would be a threat as well, but early indications are that they may be feeding the departure of Faris Ramley a little more than Tampines are feeding the departure of Shardan. They've got a free kick here that Nakamura will take, the former Albrechts man. It's been a real busy bee in this game so far. And I wonder if Hougang will just put the cue in the rack here, accept this game is gone, and concentrate on Ho Chi Minh in the AFC Cup. Here on Tuesday, of course, they had a great start in Group F with that win against Lao Toyota. Tampines also a winning start in Group H against PSM of Indonesia. Oh, look at that touch, Jordan Webb. Lovely ball through, Yasser Hanapi. Tries to play it through to Nakamura! Well, that would have been sensational. It can still be a goal! www.jordanwebbsgoalinthecommunityshield.com. The Canadian makes it 3, and the Shield is going back to our Tampines hub. Well, Jordan Webb, there was some a couple of years ago that thought he might be on his way out at Tampines, but he's knuckled down. And I think Gavin Lee coming to the fore has really been a boost for him. It was a great save initially from Kai Rulin, but right next to the penalty spot, Jordan Webb with all the time in the world to pick his spot. And remember, he started that move as well, as you can see there. And it's a goal the Canadians play on balance definitely deserves. Well, Jordan Webb and that's straight up the other end. Hougang very nearly get one back through Sahil, whose introduction is going to have to perform miracles now, coming as it did just before Tampines went 3 up. Well, some will say it's only a Community Shield, and there's no question, I think, Hougang, in terms of selection and maybe how they've approached this game, flag's going to stay down here. If Shah can get there first, it gets back to Khairudin. There's going to some that are going to say, like with the team selection, that maybe Hougang maybe have not approached this game as steadfastly as Tampines. I think that's maybe the politically correct way of saying it, but they started strong enough. Jordan Webb, can he go again? Deflected. It's going to be a corner. But remember, the first 10 or 15 minutes, it was almost all played in Tampines territory. Hougang, through that split, he created the one chance, blown over by Shafiq Ghani. And they had his chance right at the start of the second half as well. Shafiq Ghani again pulling it wide when they could have opened the scoring. But this game is done as a contest now. And with 18 and a half to play, it's just going to be a question of how many Tampines score. So, another Tampines corner. And they've had plenty of those. Referee just making sure that there's nothing silly in the remainder of this game, with it effectively being over. Boris and Anders Aplin having a little tete-a-tete. Don't want any silly cards here or anything unnecessary. Tampines with their 5th corner of the game. Play it short to create a better angle. This is going to come out to the edge of the area. Jordan Webb. Really been impressed with Jordan Webb this afternoon, and if they are going to challenge for the title, there's no question that Jordan Webb and Boris Kopotovic are going to have to really make it count in the final third. Interestingly enough, as well as they've both played individually, you get the impression there's a partnership of sorts that might develop even further as they get used to each other's games. Remember, for them, they're in the very early stages of a partnership, with Boris only joining in the close season. Incredible to think that Jordan Webb is, well, it's bizarre, isn't it? When you see him playing this one at 31, he's been here long enough to have been made a naturalised Singaporean and play for the national team. There's been, I think, a lot of rumblings behind the scenes as to maybe why that hadn't happened. And certainly his form as a footballer has been in and out, but at the age of 31, he's been here a while and arguably playing some of the best football of his career. Been in Singapore for now a decade, would you believe? So he could have become Singaporean, and there was definitely noises from him that that's what he wanted to do early in his career. Didn't quite materialise, and I suppose now at 31, the ship may have sailed. Although Alexander Djuric was just getting going at 31, wasn't he? Another former Singapore Premier League legend, and of course a former Tampines man as well, Alexander Djuric. But the Hoolies are trying to rustle the troops for Hougang as Jordan Webb. There's some frustration creeping in now. Needs to be a little bit careful here. Does Farhan? The referee wants a serious word. Is it going to warrant a card? I've seen a couple of cards. There's another change comes, and I think they sensibly noticed that, the Hougang bench, and Farhan will be replaced by Fabian Kwok. And Fabian Kwok is a player I'm really looking forward to seeing. He was part of that Hougang side that really struggled in 2018, and now he's got a chance to play in a Hougang team that on paper at least can be a real threat for major honour. So good to see Fabian Kwok, another Singapore international, on the pitch, number 12. Final 15 minutes then, you're watching live coverage of the curtain raiser on the 2020 Singapore Professional Football League season. It's the AIA Singapore Community Shield ahead of the big kickoff of the 25th season of the Singapore Premier League. Next weekend, you'll catch every game, remember, live this season, courtesy of the One Play social media networks, the Football Association of Singapore's Facebook page, and live on Singtel and StarHub. Better to be safe and check those networks and the listings week by week, but I know today we're on channel 112 on Singtel and on channel 202 on StarHub, and again, that's what I'm being told as the attendance of 1,925 comes through. Great news for those fighting the coronavirus in the front line, because the gate receipts will be donated to that cause. The foundation set up to benefit those that are having to put the extra hours in and risk themselves to battle Corona. If you are just joining us earlier on, the two clubs and their chairman, Bill Ng of Hougang and Desmond Dong of Tampines, each donated 5,000 each. That was matched by the Football Association of Singapore, who donated 10,000, and I think that'll be more than 5,000, the gate receipt, so that's nice to see that a healthy cheque will be making its way to the people that need it most in this difficult time during the Corona situation. Difficult time for Hougang as well here, because they're not going to be winning their first ever piece of silverware, and their first appearance in a final is turning into a nightmare as Jordan Webb finds some space again, and he's got the pace to get there before it crosses over the byline, and get there he does. Looks up for support or an option. Irwin Shah is arriving. Jordan Webb misses out Irwin Shah and gets it back to the really impressive Nakamura, who tries to play through Irwin Shah. And it's back to the Hougang skipper, Khairuddin, who won't be the captain, lifting the Community Shield in around about 15 minutes' time. We'll bring you the trophy presentation live. Duncan Elias with Philip Orr and Barbara Latimer with all the post-match reaction and news. And a reminder to check out all the upcoming Singapore Premier League fixtures on the Football Association of Singapore's website and social media channels. And for goodness sake, give the S-League a go this season. 4 foreigners now in each team. Some really interesting ones arriving as well. Boris Kaponovic amongst them, and this man, Charles Mackel. I think we'll see him play better games this season than he has today. And we've also now got the man with the tightest shorts in football in Zachary Anderson, who's made the move to Singapore from Malaysia. All of a sudden, half a chance for Shafiq Ghani to come through. Hougang enjoying their best possession for some time, but they immediately cough it straight up to Boris Kaponovic. Just a reminder of those upcoming games. The games involving Brunei DPMM are all subject to revision. So obviously check if you're planning. We know that they won't be travelling here. I'm told the away games for the Singapore sides in Brunei will be rearranged as well. Over the top to Boris Kaponovic. Takes one touch, 2 men in attendance. Boris, oh, lovely little dink trying to find Nakamura. Just cut out by Charles Mackel in time. And it's a sign of the respect they're now showing Boris Kaponovic, Jordan Webb, that Charles Mackel is effectively playing in a back four with Zachary Anderson to try and stem the tide. Over the top. And cleared away. Here's Anders Aplin. Been a very quiet game from Anders Aplin. I think his only real telling involvement is when I misidentified him as taking a corner in the first half, when it was Shafiq Ghani that was taking it. Here's Yasser Hanapi. Nakamura. Those games that kick off the league next week, or Jordan Webb. He's been flirting with trouble for some time, Jordan Webb. And the referee, if he's seen this, the assistant referee's running it as well. There could be some bother. The replay on this one's going to be very interesting. I was actually following the ball in real time. But Anders Aplin has gone down like a smack of spuds, and Jordan Webb is going to see yellow for this. Now, the replay will tell us whether he's lucky. It's only yellow. But Jordan Webb, a couple of times, he's pleading his innocence to the referee and the Hougang players. Let's have a look at this replay if we can. But again, we saw Farhan substituted by Hougang when it looked like he might be getting in a bit of bother. I would think Gavin Lee might think about taking Jordan Webb off now as well. Now let's have a look at this. They're tracking back. Anders Aplin. Now that was the initial thing where I think Jordan Webb was disappointed, and then he went for it. That's a red card offence, I think. Well, it's a red card offence all day long and twice on Tuesdays, and he's correct, the referee. Well, he substituted him, I think, before he can be red carded. That was while we were on the replay, when he's very lucky, Jordan Webb, not to be red carded. Anders Aplin has picked up a yellow, as Jordan Webb has as well, and I think that was smart coaching from Gavin Lee to get him off the pitch before the referee maybe had a chance to consult more. If that's a situation where there is VAR, I think Jordan Webb might have found himself in a bit more bother. But anyway, as it is, it's still 11 against 11, and in the context of the game, of course, it's not going to make too much difference. Well, while I was looking at replays and seeing Jordan Webb, the reason why I thought Jordan Webb had been sent off is because he was arguing with the fourth official down by the pitch side, but just to confirm, he was substituted. Well, having said that, let me just count the number of the players on the pitch here. 3, 6. No, it was a red card, I think. I was told by my producer he was substituted, but I'm just counting the numbers here. 3, 6, 9. Yeah, that's a red card. It was a red card. I was right first time. It was a red card for Jordan Webb. I was sold a dummy there by my producer. I do apologise. We were all looking at the replay, and that's the right decision, I think. No VAR involved, but I've got a feeling the fourth official was the one that might have had a chat with the referee. So a bit of confusion here, but it does look like Tampines will play with 10 for the remaining 8.5. So can Hougang fashion a comeback here that would make Liverpool's Champions League win against AC Milan look like a teddy bear's picnic? Well, they've got a chance to deliver one into the box to make an early inroad. Yes, I've just counted up the players. Jordan Webb has definitely not been replaced. So whether he was red carded or taken off by Gavin Lee as a precaution, he's not been replaced. Oh, best chance in the second half for Hougang, and Cheryl Anwar getting in a mix-up with Zach Anderson, and it goes over. Well, a bit of a sad end to this game, really, because that initial contact between Anders Aplin and Jordan Webb is the kind of thing that happens when players are tracking across the field, but you can't really excuse Jordan Webb's reaction, and it's the kind of incident that Jordan Webb's performance has been building up to, because although he's played brilliantly, he's been frustrated at times. Anders Aplin's already been booked! Anders Aplin has already been booked! Well, the referee is giving him a last chance saloon, but by rights, he's got to go. He's holding on to Boris Kaponovic there, and I tell you something, they're 3-0 up, and it's the Community Shield, so it won't be the end of the world. If this game is 0-0 in a league match and there's 7.5 to play and Anders Aplin stays on the field, they wouldn't be very happy. Final change on the way for the Stags. Taufik Soprano. Let's have a look at this again. But he's got to go there. Simple as that. It's a professional foul, he's got to go, he knows what he's doing. It's called taking one for the team, but it's the kind of foul you can't make if you're already on a yellow. Well, Yasser Hanapi has had a great game, the skipper. The assist for the goal scored by Irwin. And Taufik will come on for the final 7 minutes. Well, not for the right reasons, but it started to pick up here, drama-wise, in the second half, hasn't it? One red card, probably should have had 2. And more importantly, 3 goals to Tampines that have secured them already, surely. Their 5th AIA Singapore Community Shield. And a reminder, in 3 of the previous 4 times they've won it, they've gone on to win the league after their game in midweek in the Philippines, in Kayak. Tampines will get their league campaign underway next Sunday at our Tampines hub against Balestier Castle. We'll be at that game for you as well. The game on Saturday, next Saturday, which will be the first game, if you like, of the season. Albrecht Nagata, the champions from 2 seasons ago at Jurong East against Geylang International, who've lost a couple of key players this season, Geylang. The Home United Brunei DPMM game has been postponed. Corner comes in, keeper comes Kairu, and only succeeds in punching it straight back to Mimodovic, who lets it go out for a throw. And I think, bearing in mind tempers are becoming a bit frayed here, both sets of players might just be letting this wind down. Well, I mean, it's just such a shame, that Jordan Webb incident, because he played so well up to that point. That's high in the air. Mimodovic is... Oof. Now there's another incident here. This game is getting nasty. And now another yellow card, this time to Afik. And I think everyone involved in this fixture now just wants the final 5 minutes to tick away rather quickly, because what should have been a fine curtain raiser with 3 great goals. Let's not forget the 3 goals Tampines scored were all absolute crackers. Irwin's opener was a thing of beauty. Irwin's ball across the face of goal to Boris for his 6th goal in 6 games was sensational. And then Jordan Webb with a goal that his performance deserved, unfortunately marred by a needless red card when he ran 10 yards to square up to Anders Aplin, who himself, by the way, is no saint in the incident and probably should have seen red moments later for a second yellow after holding back Boris Kaponovic. But plenty of positives here, certainly for Tampines. Shaolan Amboise had not much service to play with. That's gone out of play already. That'll be a goal kick. Yeah, I feel sorry for Shaolan Amboise. I was certainly a fan of Gaylang's play a couple of seasons back, and it was Shaolan Amboise and Anders Aplin that were lighting up Gaylang back there. Anders Aplin, I know, has come back from injury problems. He had that stint training in Japan as well that would hope to have progressed him from a footballer, but we've not seen him at his best today, I don't think. And from his point of view, he still seems to be marking Boris Kaponovic. That could still end in tears yet. That's well picked up by Taufik. And another free kick. This game's getting niggly. I would not be surprised if there's very little time added on for stoppages at the end of this. If there's more than 3 minutes, I'll eat my hat. I think everyone concerned just wants to get this game in the books now. Stay with us at the full-time whistle, though. We'll have the trophy presentation or the shield presentation for you and a post-show with Duncan Elias and Barbara Latimer, with Philip Orr, the former Hougang manager. And a tremendous chap, Philippe. He's going to be giving you some post-match analysis. And a reminder to check back in with the Football Associations of Singapore's social media channels and indeed the One Play network for all the build-up to the first games of the season in the Singapore Premier League next week, which we'll be bringing to you all live on One Play, the Football Association of Singapore's social media channels, and Singtel and StarHub. And as Aplin can consider himself a lucky boy, Zachary Anderson, he wears short shorts. Well, credit to the Hougang Hoodies. They're still going at it. The Tampines fans have still been in strong voice as well. And it's those die-hard fans that have got the Singapore Premier League through some lean years. We're hoping this season's going to be the best yet. Quarter of a century of Singapore professional football. And we could be in for a cracker with more foreign players, more youngsters being blooded with a view to the national team. And, of course, we're in a Suzuki Cup year. Mustn't forget that. Singapore... Not so long ago that Singapore were winning the Suzuki Cup, and that seems a distant memory now, so we hope that the under-23 side are rejuvenated. Watch the young Lions in action in their pre-season friendly against Tanjong Pagar United, a 1-1 draw on Wednesday night. Certainly look fit as fleas, the young Lions. Yet another Fandy boy off the conveyor belt for them this season in Ilhan Fandy. And as for Tanjong Pagar, well, they've got a Brazilian up front, Junior, who looked like he could be useful. They're obviously... I think have moderate ambitions this season, bearing in mind they're just rejoining the party after a 6-year break. But it's great to have the Jaguars back, Tanjong Pagar United back in the Singapore Premier League this season. And if you are new to it, and obviously we'll be picking up new supporters, which is what it's all about, being on Singtel and StarHub and One Play, you know, pick a team. But it'll be very grateful for your support. And I can vouch that you'll have a great time if you get down to a game this season. Right, Tampines to clear with Sazwan, who hasn't had much to do, but what he's had to do, he's done well. And Kai Reelan in the Hougang goal, he's made a couple of decent saves as well. Just been beaten 3 times by efforts that he really couldn't do much about. Well, final 30 seconds, and I don't think anyone's interested. In too much time added on for stoppages here. Hougang offside again. Not a fan of that call, Shafiq Ghani. He had a chance to put Hougang one up right after half-time, remember? And I suppose the other thing, it's I'm only going by the naked eye up here in the stands, but it looks like both sets of players have got through unscathed. So it'd be a good pipe opener for their games to come. Well, I'm going to have to eat my hat because they found 4 minutes of time added on from somewhere. Goodness gracious me, how they ever find time added on from, I don't know. It's either never enough or too much. And in this case, I think 4 minutes is a bit too much. Gives Hougang a chance to still score. Here's Zachary Anderson. Tampines have put the cue in the rack here. I think they're just happy to play out the last 4 minutes. That's an interesting ball over the top. Might still produce a chance for Hougang. And it was over the bar from Sahil Suhaimi. Nice build-up play though. It was a delightful ball through. But again, I think Tampines have up stumps here. They've got the trip to Manila in mind. They'll be flying out there, I think, late on Monday, I should say, early Tuesday. Have to be in the country of the team you're playing 2 days before. That's AFC regulations. For Hougang, they've got the luxury of only having to travel back here on Tuesday for the game against Ho Chi Minh City. Of course, a win for both those teams, win for either of them, would send them top of their respective groups in Groups G and H respectively. Here's Anders Aplin over the top. The flag might stay down this time, and stay down it does. And here's Sahil Suhaimi. Sahil Suhaimi, the Hougang get a consolation in this. Suhaimi! Shazwan does well. Has had hardly anything to do in the second half, but he got down and palmed that one away. But an encouraging introduction for Sahil Suhaimi. Heads up, off the post. Well, it's coming as the game is over, but Hougang at least showing they got the fighting spirit and trying to come forward and score, as that one's going to go past the despairing run of Charles Mackle. So many thanks for joining us on this broadcast. The post show still to come with Duncan and Barbara and Philippor. Reminder, we'll be bringing you every single Singapore Premier League game live on One Play this season, starting next Saturday at Jurong East for Albirex, the champions of 2 years ago, taking on Geylang. Flags up here against Boris. There won't be no 2 goals for him, but he still made it 6 in 6 tonight, including the friendly matches and the game against Bali in the AFC Champions League qualifier and the game against PSM in the AFC Cup. Yes, and then Tampines against Balestier is next Sunday's offering, and we'll also be bringing you Long Island against Hougang. Well, that was calm as you like from Madhu Mahana, coming across to try and keep Tampines Rovers' clean sheet intact. And of course the clean sheet will be welcome for Gavin Lee, because they conceded 5 in 120 minutes against Bali, and they conceded as well in a nervy finish against the Indonesians last week in the AFC Cup. So it's always good for a defence to try and keep a clean sheet, and it looks like they're going to have one more foray to deal with before the referee blows for full time. That's come back to Sahil Suhaimi. The fresh legs have certainly made a difference for Hougang where he's concerned, but again, this is Tampines, I think, just with their feet off the gas at the moment, and that's gone all the way through to Shazwan, who now is going to have kept a clean sheet and played his part in Tampines winning a 4th, or I should say a 5th now, Community Shield. And it could still be 4 on the charge. Taufik plays in Shah to Boris. No, they're just happy now to play this clock down. The players now, I should think, wanting to get in the dressing rooms, get the rub down and start preparing themselves for their AFC games to come, where Tampines will be feeling a bit brighter than Hougang going into it, but Hougang will know with Stipe Placemat to come back into the side, they'll arguably be much more of a threat back here on Tuesday against Ho Chi Minh. Tampines Rovers have won their 5th, a record-extending 5th AIA Singapore Community Shield. They've beaten Hougang United by 3-0. Opening the scoring after 57 minutes, a delightful move involving Irwin starting and finishing it after a lovely assist from Hanapi to play him through at the death. And then after Morgan worked for Irwin Sharp, Boris got the goal that he's played as Boris Kapanovic, now 6 in 6 for the big Montenegrin. That on the 64-minute mark, before 6 minutes later, Jordan Webb made it game, set and match with a strike after a scramble from just wide of the penalty spot. The win marred somewhat by Jordan Webb's red card for a tangle with Anders Aplin with 10 minutes to go. Aplin himself arguably should have been sent off just 5 minutes later. But all in all the players finished fit, and they both head to their respective AFC Cup games intact, looking to make it 2 wins from 2 for both of them. There'll be an action in the weeks to come, live on One Play and the FAS's social media channels, on Sington and StarHub as well, as the Singapore Premier League 2020 begins with a bang next weekend. But for now in the Community Shield, it's the champions Tampines Rovers 3, Hougang United 0.
Tampines Rovers are the AIA Community Shield champions of 2020. You're going to get immediate reaction at the full-time whistle, and Barbara is with everyone.
You know, especially on the left flank. Yeah.
It was 0-0 at halftime, but what changed in the second half? What did Gavin Lee perhaps say to his players at the break?
Well, I think they didn't need to change much because in the first half they dominated. So I think in the second half they continue where they left off. Just Hougang didn't change their tactics to cope with it.
It was really great football by Tampines Rovers, and they started the scoring in the 55th minute, and a great goal, great build-up throughout the match by Tampines Rovers, going through the flanks, going through the middle, but they did open the scoring after 55 minutes, and it was a great goal.
It was a superb goal, you know, everyone shot coming from the back. But the little 1-2s that Tampines played, Hougang the whole night, they had so much problem coping with it.
Just looking at the highlights from the very, very start, and this was the first proper chance of the match by Shafiq Adi, just blasting it over. But perhaps it's as good as it got for Hougang United. Again, looking at chances from the flank. Jordan Vestring had a very quiet game, and I would say playing a back five, the wing backs had to be very important, and they didn't really get involved. Jordan Webb always a threat, and he got his rewards in the second half. But what did you make overall of the contribution of Jordan Webb besides that red card?
Well, that was the only negative thing, you know, Jordan Webb getting the red card. But otherwise, he contributed much to this victory. Often vacating the flanks and coming to the middle to help out Nagamura and Zezet Marudin. So, yeah, the three of them, they caused so much problems for Hougang today.
Again, that's a big chance. Great ball by Joel Chu. Look at the back line, not a straight back line. Kopitovic beating the offside trap. A good save in the end by Khairul Hin. And Tampines Rovers were knocking on the door at the moment. And again, this ball, Jordan Webb making the run from outside in. Could have squared it, went for goal. Khairul Hin again with good legs to keep it out. And Tampines Rovers went into the break very, very confident. And Gavin Lee must have got into his team, telling them to take your chances. You did everything right so far. It's just needing to take the chances.
Well, take the chances they did in the second half.
There was a collision there between Amirul Adli and Shazwan Buhari that eventually saw Amirul Adli forced off. Here's another chance for Kopitovic. Still first half chances, and the amount of chances that Tampines Rovers had in the first half just couldn't kill it off. But it's in the second half where they just turn on the gears, and here's the goal. Everyone shot 1-2 with Yasir Hanafi. Nothing Khairul Hin could have done with that.
It was simple football, you know, a 1-2, but that pass from Yasir, fantastic, you know, it was a fantastic pass to Irwan Shah for that good finish.
Just a deft little flick, plenty of technique there. Irwan Shah making no mistake from left back coming in and into the far post, as every good strike should. And here's the second goal. Great build-up before this, but Kopitovic, 6 goals in 6 games. What a way to introduce yourself to Singapore football.
Yes, Kopitovic, he worked very hard today, you know, off the ball running. He was there, he had many chances, but he scored today. He continued his goal-scoring streak.
And Hougang United picking up their runners-up medals. Disappointed, obviously, not to win their first ever trophy in Singapore football, but I think today a lesson for them of what they need to do and the benchmark they need to reach this season.
Definitely wasn't a good performance from them, but I think their focus was on the AFC Cup coming up. That's why they rested Stipe Plazivat, who is a key member. Look at him there collecting the medals. It's a good lesson to Hougang. Luckily, this is not the first match of the league season. It's just a glorified friendly match. So they must learn a lot of lessons from here.
I knew you'd say that as a former Hougang United coach. Nazrul Nazari not involved as well. Anu Mantan as well not involved. So obviously with an eye on the AFC Cup. Disappointment for them, but if they do get the win in midweek, then the gamble would have paid off for them.
Yes, for sure. An AFC Cup win is definitely more important for them. They've got 3 points on the board already. They will go for another 3 points. I'm sure for Hougang to progress well in the AFC Cup, it's good for Singapore football.
Reflecting on the match, do you think Clement will go back home after his cup of tea tonight and maybe perhaps think I should have changed the formation once I knew that we were in trouble?
Yes, I felt the back five and the two central midfielders, the two of them, Mekel and Nikesh Singh, had so much problems. At the start of the second half, after maybe 10-15 minutes, Shafiq Ghani stepped in and made it three central midfielders. But by then, Tampines were already dominating the whole match.
It was fantastic by Tampines Rovers and just waiting for them to pick up their winners' medals and pick up another trophy at Jalan Besar Stadium. You said glorified, friendly. For Tampines Rovers, they won't think that way. They got a trophy to lift.
Yes, a win is a win. Lifting a trophy is, after all, lifting a trophy.
Hougang United getting the adulation of the Hougang Wolves and, of course, a good photo opportunity for them. Great pictures there for Hougang United. Finally on the podium as well, and that is the Community Shield that was up for grabs, but that will be lifted by Tampines Rovers. And as I said, I know Patrick Kinghorn did mention it, of the 4 times that Tampines Rovers have played in the Community Shield previous to this, of the 3 times they've won it, of the 4 times they've won it, they've gone on to win the league title. Do you believe in omens?
Well, not really. Not really. I don't really believe in omens, yeah. But they do look good to achieve their first title,
We saw Madhu Mahana leading up the line going to collect his winner's medal, and he's going to be the most experienced centre-back at the moment because Daniel Bennett is injured. Amirul Ali, I'm not sure how bad his injury is, but he looks to miss on the AFC Cup. So a very inexperienced centre-back pairing for the upcoming AFC match.
Yes, Madhu Mahana, great experience. But I think Amirul Ali coming off today is just a precaution. Pretty sure he'll be ready for the AFC Cup in midweek.
Yeah, Tampines Rovers playing Kaya FC in Manila on Wednesday. Looks to be okay there. Amirul Ali and Chairman Desmond Ong giving away the medals, and they didn't need to use Safirul Sulaiman today. They were saving a lot of players. And Shazwan Buhari didn't have much to do today, just that collision with Amirul in the first half.
And he showed a short pair of hands, and I think that's very, very important. With an inexperienced back line, you definitely need a good goalkeeper at the back. And Shazwan did nothing wrong today.
No Dan Bennett, no Huzaifa, who's out for a week or two, according to Gavin Lee. So, question mark on his availability for the AFC Cup. But from what you've seen of Tampines today, I know Hougang United, they can see it as a benchmark they need to reach. But have they gone on to a different level, Tampines Rovers, from last season for what you've seen today?
Yes, they have 2 good signings, is Kopitovic and Kyoga. Both fantastic. Their roles are crucial, especially Kopitovic. Tampines wants to build up from the back, and look at Hougang today. They want to stop them from building up, but they have the option to go long because Kopitovic can handle the ball because he's so big and physical.
I'd like to say a special shout out to Yase Hanapi, who was quiet by the shirt, but also to Kyoga Nakamura, who more often than not will have the pass that leads to the assist to the goal.
Yes, last season Kyoga was a standout player for Albirex, and Tampines made a very, very good decision to bring him over because not forgetting they lost Shadan at the end of last season, and I think Kyoga will replace him for sure.
Well, Tampines Rovers Cup champions in 2019, runners-up in the SPL in 2019, but they start 2020 with a bang. The AIA Community Shield champions of 2020, Tampines Rovers. And really happy for Yase Hanapi. He gets the trophy lift. It was Shada Sulaiman, now part of the Lion City Sailors, who lifted the Singapore Cup. But congratulations to Yase Hanapi and to Tampines Rovers, starting the season with a bang.
Yes, after Sharan's departure, Yase will have a key role to play because he's been there for a few years now. And if he can lead this team and keep them together, I think Tampines can achieve bigger success this year.
It's always great as a player to lift the trophy, to have the celebrations there. It's memories you bring on after your career.
Definitely. We say as long as you lift a trophy, it is still lifting a trophy. That winning moment will stay with you forever.
And Gavin Lee now adds a community shield to his Singapore Cup winners medal. Now a bona fide head coach after getting his A license as well, his coaching license. So congratulations to Gavin Lee and to Tampines Rovers. Final word. I'm not going to put you on the spot, but I am. Having seen Tampines Rovers today up against a fellow title challenger in Hougang United, are they favourites for the title, or are we yet to see Lion City Sailors yet?
No, Lion City Sailors, they're a good team. I've seen it in pre-season. They're gonna give Tampines a run for the money. So, and not forgetting Alberex, they're strengthened as well. They brought better players this time around. So it's gonna be an exciting season. And I think it's gonna be a 3-4 horses race in this year.
Having said that, give me a top three in no particular order.
I have to go for Lion City Sailors, Tampines, and then Alberex Niigata.
Well, Philip out with the prediction there. Will he get it right? Well, enjoy the season with us and find out if Philip out is right. We are signing off from the Jalan Besar Stadium as the AIA Community Shield comes to a close. Tampines Rovers are the winners of the first silverware of the season. Good night.
For making us here at the Jalan Besar Stadium. Have a good evening.
Hey, give me all the mic, all the mic.